What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing today? Because we got one hell of a show today. Because we're going to be discussing Grogu or Baby Yoda or whatever you want to call him, and who we think he is, and who we think is on the other side of that door. This has been a topic that's been blowing up the online community. Some fans think one reason, and other fans think a completely different reason. So today we're going to be tackling. I can't talk today. Some of these theories, and see if we can shed some light on the debate. Then, as always, we've got some news and rumors, Star Wars Impossible quiz. So sit back and relax as the most outrageous Star Wars show on the web takes you on a journey that is Grogu and why he's so important.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Last we will reveal ourselves.
I have a bad feeling about this.
You are now tuned into LightSaber Radio. If you only knew the power of God's.
Here it comes.
Let's go.
You are now tuned into LightSaber Radio. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello there.
So what's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing today?
I'm happy
CJ?
to be home. I'm so happy to be home.
Where did you
Oh.
go? Where did they have you drive to?
They have me driving up to Ketchum, Idaho. It's Rich People City. You know where Sun Valley is?
Dude, you just had to say Idaho and that was enough.
How about you go play with your fucking snowbirds?
That's
Pound
touche.
sand.
Touche.
I deal with all the rich, snobby Californians that buy $1 million homes. And when they buy business buildings and want to build them, and then they try to rush you, and it's like, hey, well, if you had a better general contractor, we could probably get this done a lot sooner. So that's all I've been doing with all week is general contractor, everybody everywhere. Nobody, literally, it's like that episode of SpongeBob when his mind breaks and it's everybody running around in his mind. That was the job site all week.
What's going on, Star Wars team leader and infected? How you guys doing today? Both of y'all are working? I'm sorry.
Hell
We
no,
might
man.
be switching the show date because it seems like everybody's working on Saturdays. Like, why does everybody got to work on freaking Saturday? Like,
Aw.
Lenny, what's going on?
I'm here, buddy.
I'm glad I'm
still
back
here
too. I'll be going back up there on Monday, and then I am back Tuesday, and I'm going to be back up there until the springtime. So
You said till springtime.
I get it infected. I
it's
wasn't enough.
it's 4
fine.
feet of snow up there. We can't do much on a roof if there's 4
Yeah.
feet of snow on a roof.
They're up there with blow torches and like trying to melt all of.
No,
no,
it's
I'm
not a
not
joke.
joking. They're
I
up
know my
there.
little brother does waterproofing,
Yeah.
so yeah, I know.
That's what I was doing. So we had this little patio we had to waterproof, and it was just. I'm done. I'm done with rich people. I watched a Lamborghini hit a Porsche, and I looked down over the roof, and I'm like, "Hey, look, there's $1 million in parts right there."
Lenny said, "I'm just crawling out of bed."
You know what, Lenny? How about you pound sand? I've been up since like 6.
Shit, I've been up since 4.
My body has not reacclimated to being back home where I don't have to be awake until like.
But I
6:30.
slept last night. I don't know. I got off work yesterday and I was out running. I was throwing trash yesterday. I got out of the truck and threw some trash yesterday. I was feeling good. By the time I was done, I was throwing up.
I was like, you ain't feeling good when you're done, huh?
I got home. I fell asleep at like 3:30, didn't wake up till like 9:30. It was terrible. It was not good. And I still feel like crap. I feel like I got a hangover. It's just like, it's creepy the way that I feel like, dude, I haven't drinking forever. But to feel like I have a hangover, it's like, what the hell? Like a bad hangover. Well, like you got super drunk early and then was like, oh, let's do it all over again and just kept drinking.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, I feel like I got one of those
terrible.
hangovers. Like I can't stop sweating either. I'm like, oh God, it's just hot for no reason. Like it's not even hot in my house. It's cold in here and I'm sweating and shit. It's just weird. I feel like crap. Yeah, it's not a good thing. But we got one hell of a show for you guys today. Because we're going to be discussing and trying to come up with the answers. The messed up thing about it is we just don't have a lot of information. So the answers can go so many different ways. At this point, we have is theories to go off of.
Right.
But we are going to try to figure out why Grogu is so important. If you watch the trailer, he is being guarded by 4 Jedi. Why are 4 Jedi guarding this kid? And who is going to come through that door? I think I have the answer to that. I think I know who's coming through the door, and I think I know, who them Jedi, or at least one of the Jedis, are in the trailer.
Well, I'm gonna be real about it. I don't think it was just Grogu being protected. But
No, I think it's just Grogu.
We'll get into that. But
And I'll explain why in a minute. But this is going to be a lot of fun. And as you guys know, sometimes we get into a tangent. We get off Star Wars. But we always come back to Star Wars. But before we get started, we have a tradition here at LightSaber Radio. Something that we do to get our outrageous juices flowing. Our form of an icebreaker. We call it the Hothbreaker. Pun the Empire Strike Back. Garrison is going to give us a crazy scenario. And then we are going to give our most outrageous response. And we want everyone watching to join in. So put your answers in the chat.
put it in the chat. Put it in the chat.
Put it in the chat.
Well, that's
Garrison, drop that lead in video. Okay, is Garrison frozen?
Right. Since we're on a... No, I'm not frozen.
You was
You
frozen.
hear me?
Were.
Yeah.
Was.
I was frozen.
Yeah, and it looked like you was about to
Since
suck
we're
a
on the
dick.
topic,
He's frozen again.
nice. Appreciate that. No, that was frozen out of not wanting to suck a dick. I'll tell you that.
No, he keeps freezing.
Oh my God.
No, he keeps freezing because it's time for the Hothbreaker.
That was dumb. That was dumb.
All right.
I
Well,
love you,
Tori,
but
it
that
was great
dumb.
having you on. We'll see you next week.
I will catch you later, man.
All right. Since we're on the topic of Mandalorian, I want to ask you guys, what would you do? What's the first thing you're doing if you find the Mask of Mandalore?
Oh, motherfucker, I'm going to Mandalore. Oh
Yeah.
man, I am putting out a signal with my mask on, and I'm telling all the motherfuckers to come to the planet. We're
Yep.
going to dominate again. We're restarting this shit.
Yes.
I
Make
thought the
Mandalore
Empire
great
was
again.
bad. You think the Empire is
Make
bad?
Mandalore great again.
Damn
You know what?
straight.
I wonder, like,
That's why my
it's been
chat
so
is
long
Mandalorian
since
great.
the Mask of Mandalore has even been around that if anybody was seen it, if they would know what it was, like, what the hell is that? How do we know that that's the Mask of Mandalore? You know what I'm saying? You just found a mask. How the hell do we know that's the Mask of Mandalore? It's been missing for like 1,000 years. Who knows what it looks like anymore?
So, I'm not as huge on the Mandalorians as CJ is. So, I'm going to be honest with you. Last week was the first time of me ever hearing about the Mask of Mandalore.
Oh, wow. Like, you should really
Yikes.
research the Mask of
DJ.
Mandalore.
Like
I don't know what I'm doing
like I
anymore.
knew about the Darksaber, like all of that. I wasn't as into the Mandalorians as CJ was, or like my mom was. So
It's not was. I still am. It is a fiery passion. They have such a rich culture. I love it.
but seeing as how it is like the end all be all for the Mandalorians, it's the one great leader. I probably the same thing as CJ. Like
If I found the Mask of Mandalore, I would make Din give up the Darksaber so I could have them both.
I'd see, and that's what I do. I tell him to
I want the
kneel in front.
Darksaber too, damn it. Give it here, punk. I ain't got to fight you. I got the mask.
That shit ain't relevant no more. Give it here.
so question, a little bit of thinker. So the Darksaber is only one in combat. What if during combat you both give up? Does it mean that it technically belongs to two people? Because at that point, I wouldn't I wouldn't tell him to give me the Darksaber. I would have him like as my like right hand person, so that there was two people who would be able to wield the Darksaber, and he would be my right hand person. He's already proven loyalty. He's already proven that he's able to back somebody up in a fight. We saw that in Book of Boba Fett. Like, He would be a good right hand man, and somebody else that can control the saber.
He can't control the saber. He cut himself the first 5 minutes we saw him use it.
You can't do that. You can't give up. It's against Mandalorian. You can't even call yourself a Mandalorian if you give up.
I also have a question. So in Clone Wars, Tori just watched this last night. In Clone Wars, Maul wields the Darksaber because he took it from Pre Vizsla. Her and I have talked about this. So when Sidious shows up, beats the hell out of Maul, makes him yield. That means Palpatine has the Darksaber.
Which
right.
then in
And then hold on.
Like in the Deathly Hallows, it was never Harry's wand.
Thank you.
But so think about this. So now Palpatine has the Darksaber in combat technicalities, right? Well, down the line, Maul somehow gets it back, but nobody really truly wields it except for Palpatine since he defeated Maul. Well, Vader defeated Palpatine.
But then Vader dies, so Moff Gideon just takes the Darksaber. That's how Moff Gideon got it. He just got it out of the remnants of the Death Star when it fell on that planet that they were on, whatever the name of that planet's on.
I'm just saying in technicality. No, because Bo-Katan had it, and then what's her face, Sabine had it, and then it just went back to Sabine or Satine or Bo-Katan after that. But in technicality forms, oh yeah, it's a disjumbled lightsaber. But so in technicality, if Palpatine beat Maul obviously has to get the Darksaber, and then Vader defeats Palpatine. Let's say he lives. Does that make Vader the ruler of fucking Mandalore?
Yeah, but he died, and then Moff Gideon just goes and takes it out of the remnants of the Death Star too.
But do you have to be wielding the Darksaber when you're
anybody can wield the Darksaber? You don't have. This is the thing in the Mandalorian culture, or what Bo-Katan and them believe is you have to win it in combat. Anybody can, like, if you found a Darksaber on the street, you could pick it up and turn it on and wield that motherfucker. You could use it. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to win it in combat. That's just what they believe. You know what I'm saying? That's just a belief system. Like anybody can use the motherfucker.
There's like no magic attached to it.
Yeah, there's like it's not like it's
what proves that point is like when the armor states that Bo-Katan didn't truly win the Darksaber. That's what led Mandalore to its destruction.
Well,
so obviously, there's just things that are like proving that point of like.
That's just there's no like magical. It's not like Tar Vizsla said. Whoever holds this lightsaber, it has to be one with the Force or has to be part of the Force. The only thing she was explaining to Din was like, you're fighting against the blade. You're not allowing the blade to move. You're fighting against it. That's why it's getting heavier. Because he was fighting against it. He wasn't allowing the blade to, do what the blade is supposed to do. It would be no different than in a sword. If you're swinging a sword this way and you're trying to go this way at the same time, it's not going to work. It's going to feel heavy. It's going to be hard. You got to allow the sword to swing, and he wasn't doing that. He was trying to control the blade instead of let the blade just flow. So, but there's no like fucking. That's just like it's their cult beliefs. It's their cult beliefs. Mandalorian is like a giant cult. So it's their beliefs that you can't, like, someone believe you can't take off their mask, which is which was really, really old part of Mandalore, like ancient Mandalore lore, that you couldn't take your mask off. If somebody seen you, then that took away your ability to be, good in battle. If somebody seen your face. But that shit went away when Satine and them was in there. They stopped doing that shit. And then everybody didn't give a fuck. And then Death Watch kind of brought it back, and then, the shit went on, and, that's just a part of a belief system. It's not like if you really show somebody your fucking face, you can't be a Mandalorian no more. Like, who the fuck tells somebody that they could be part of their own culture? Like somebody like Din that was brought into the culture, but like if you was born on Mandalore, of Mandalorian blood, they can't stop you from being Mandalorian. You're not Mandalorian no more because you took your mask off. What are you talking about? I was born on Mandalore. That's like telling somebody, oh, you took your mask off, you can't be black no more or white. Like, what are you talking about? It's like I can't stop doing that.
I'm glad Kyle said it and not me, because I thought that exact same thing. I just wasn't gonna say it.
it's just part of their culture. That's what it really is. You know, it's not. There's like, this is just rules that they have set within their culture. It's not something, you know. It's like
Muslim. But this is also like back in ancient Sparta, if you didn't hold up to the Spartans, they would very much either kill you or banish you. Like, they could stop you,
but it was just a belief system. Just like, you know what I'm saying? It would be more like Muslims. Muslims have to pray 5 times a day. They pray 5 times a day. They don't stop. I mean, they stop whatever they're doing and they pray. And that's just their culture. You know what I'm saying? So if they stop, like if somebody missed a prayer that day, that doesn't make them not a Muslim no more. They just missed a prayer. You know what I'm saying? They got to make it up. You know, or however they do within their culture. Just like Mandalore, Din, he has to go to Mandalore, find this ancient freaking. Like, how you gonna tell me what I got to do? And I got the Darksaber. Technically, I am the ruler of Mandalore right now. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna tell me I got to go.
Why are you picking and choosing which rules you're gonna follow?
You know what I'm saying? Like, technically, I could tell you that you're not a Mandalorian no more.
Why
cut
am
your
I
head off.
listening to you Maldalorian?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like
You're so stuck on that too.
Your reign was like maybe a week.
And then you had some Outlander, fucking Ahsoka Tano come in and beat all your asses with the 501st and the 332nd. Shut up. You got beat up by knockoff Jango Fett's. Get out of here.
Knockoff Jango Fett.
Walmart brand Jangos.
Yeah, great value Jango
No, it's
Fetts.
Kirkland. It's Kirkland brand Jango Fett's.
Yeah.
You buy them in bulk, so you go to Costco.
Kirkland.
Wait, does that mean Camino is Costco?
okay. So we've all seen the trailer, and we know within the trailer there's a point that there's 4 Jedi guarding a door, and these 4 Jedi are protecting something. Now, if we go back and we look at Kenobi and the flashbacks on Reva and other younglings were in the area where Anakin comes in and just kills them all.
Right.
Straight mercs.
So we know that these 4 Jedi are guarding Grogu. Now, my question is, what makes Grogu so important that you got 4 Jedis guarding him? And what is the big deal about getting him out of there and they didn't try to get none of the other Padawans out?
Here's where I am.
I don't think it was just Grogu. Didn't they?
It was just Grogu.
No,
if you follow the comic, if you follow everything, it's just Grogu that they're guarding. But why? Nobody explains why.
There was something in one of the shows that said that he was in the nursery when they attacked. So that means that he wasn't just in there by himself. He was in there with the other like Force babies.
Well, I'm split because what I hope.
Yo, that's gonna be a dark ass scene. 501st going in there and just laying into like little nursery beds. Oh God.
Yeah,
and in the comic book, Anakin is instructed to find him.
I hate new comics.
I don't like the comics either.
I did some research on this. I did some deep ass research on this over the last couple of days. He is instructed. Now, the question is, in anything that I found, it does not ever explain why Palpatine instructed Anakin to find Grogu. He just instructed to get the youngling of Yoda's race.
Right. How I would hope Disney would write it is that, oh no, he was a child, so they're just protecting a child. It's not that he was significant. But what I see Disney doing is, all right, we're making our own chosen one. So there's the theory out there that when Anakin was created by Palpatine or Plagueis, that the Force, to balance that out, created its own fatherless child, which was Grogu.
And that's
You know what
one
I
of the theories that's going around, but it wasn't created by the Force.
Right.
One of the theories that's going around.
Mine was like it was created by the Force.
Well, that's
like
even
randomly.
Well, that's even George Lucas a few times. He's made comments about how, his race is unknown. He wanted it to be unknown, but also he was a creature of the Force. He made comments about how he was a creature of the Force. So,
But
in
I'm
his
just-
own backwards saying it without saying it, Lucas kind of confirmed that by saying that he was created by the Force. And if you take it back the years that he is now versus like Grogu and Anakin were created, brought into existence, whatever you want to say, at the same time.
Right.
That's about right.
Well, think about it like
the
this.
only thing I'm worried about is we've already talked about how Disney likes to nerf and destroy those classic awesome characters that everybody loves in order to make their own characters look better and in order to make their own characters have more popularity. So part of me is a little bit worried about that.
Okay, so one of the theories that's going around is that Yaddle and Yoda, they didn't have sex. They used Force alchemy in order to create Grogu. And that's the reason Yaddle stepped down from the Jedi Council, was thinking about leaving the Jedi.
I can see that.
So what you're telling me is that Yoda decided to be a hypocrite and use the stuff that he said only the Sith use.
This is the thing. I think what happened, and this is my theory off of reading a bunch of shit about what happened or what people think happened, is that Yoda knew what was going to happen. Yoda confided in Yaddle what was going to happen. So they came together, and because they're the only two of that species, and they used Force alchemy. They didn't sleep together because he wouldn't have been as powerful as Anakin. So they manipulated the midichlorians and created Grogu in order to counterbalance Anakin. Because Yoda already knew that Anakin was going to turn to the dark side. He already knew that, and he expressed it several times. If it's read wrongly, you guys are looking at this the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? Like he gonna bring balance to the Force because he's gonna kill all the damn Jedi.
Well, isn't Grogu like the same age as Anakin though?
Yeah, they're roughly the same age.
Yeah, but by the time Yoda finds out about Anakin's 8, 9. However,
yeah.
Phantom Menace.
Let's see.
He's 9, 10.
I mean, we'd have to look that up to see exactly what the timeline would be. Because Grogu's 50 now. But you got to also understand that
He was 9 in episode 1. And then episode 2.
41.
Yeah, Anakin was
where
20
was he at death? We need to know where he was at death.
What?
How old Anakin was at death?
Probably in his 60s.
They were both
50s,
born in
60s.
41 BBY.
So they're the exact same age.
He was
I mean,
22
Anakin
years
was a
old
little bit
when
earlier, but yeah.
Oh,
he was
so they're roughly-
22.
But we
He
don't
was
know.
22 when he became Vader, and Vader died when he was 45.
Oh, fuck. So Grogu
Yeah,
became...
They're the same age.
They're the same age. So
Like
if they're the same age, then... But that doesn't
Yoda
mean
couldn't have
that...
done it.
That
I
doesn't
don't think
mean
Yoda
that
could have done it.
Yoda didn't know before that. Like, if the Force didn't show Yoda something before that and him and Yaddle came together. Because you got to think about it. Yaddle comes to... Him and Yaddle steps down from the
council.
The council right before, if you go by what Tail says, right before Dooku kills her.
So actually, so they were born the same year, but Grogu was born in 41 BBY, so at the beginning of the year. Anakin was born in 41.9 BBY, so he was born
Right.
closer to the end of the year. So technically,
Grogu
Grogu was born first.
No, Anakin would be because it's BBY, so it's going backwards. So 41.9.
Oh, yeah.
is
So
earlier
Anakin
than
would have been
41.
born first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then there was that disturbance.
But you got to take something that's very strong. That would be a strong shift in the Force, something that Yoda would have felt. You got to understand, Yoda's at this point, he's 850 years old. There's nothing happening in the Force that he ain't feeling at this point.
I'm not. He missed the Sith, Kyle. I think that's.
I mean,
he
yeah,
knew
he,
all- I think
he
he knew
literally
about
was
it
in
the
the
whole
same
time.
room as Sidious.
Yeah, but
On
look at the way he
multiple
looked at Sidious.
occasions.
Look at the way he looked at Sidious.
He did. He didn't fully trust Sidious.
He never fully trusted Sidious. He knew something was wrong, but he also knew that the Sith were very good at blocking their dark side intentions and dark side's abilities.
Especially Palpatine, because the temple was built on the ruins of Sith Temple.
I know that.
So he could have easily masked it.
But it does kind of make sense because as soon as Qui-Gon talks about Anakin and how he thinks that Anakin is the chosen one, Yoda's not having it. Like, you go back and watch, Yoda's not happy, like, about that whole conversation with Qui-Gon. So maybe he's pissed that, like, hey, why is Anakin getting this attention? I just made the special Yoda baby. He should be the chosen one.
So
he's a salty dad, you know.
Yeah, he's a salty dad. He's like, my son's the greatest of all time. My son's the GOAT.
So
LeBron is better than Jordan, you know?
I'm on a.
How dare you be disrespectful?
Yeah, I was.
I know.
Let me just go. Let me go.
One piece that says Grogu's mother is either Yaddle or some other female member of Yoda's species, but he has no father because just like Anakin, Grogu was born off of the will of the Force with no dad that explains why he's so powerful at an age that's considered an infant for Yoda's species.
Or in Yoda's species, the men could carry the children. Like,
we don't know anything about
seahorses.
Yeah,
you two, I swear.
So we do know that one of the Jedi's that's guarding him is Sin Drilling.
Yep, we see him in Clone Wars.
We know that he's guarding. So let me go through. Let me pull up. So he's the battle master. He's the one that teaches battle technique in the Jedi. So we know that and that's this guy right here. He is one of them. We know that. You can see him. You can see his hair and stuff when he's standing with his back towards and they're facing the door. So you got the battle master. He is guarding Grogu. One of the Jedis that are guarding Grogu. And then we know that Jacasanu is the one that gets Grogu out of the temple.
Fucking librarian bitch.
Which I don't know why in the picture that they have her in the book of her, she's carrying a yellow lightsaber and she didn't have a lightsaber. She had a light blaster or a lightsaber bow type thing. Like
she's got the gun one. The gun lightsaber.
So, but we know she gets out of it. We know that Darth Vader kills her later on.
Beautiful.
And at this point, we know we don't have any idea where Grogu was at this point. After Vader kills her, does Vader take him or does she already pawn him off on somebody else to try to keep him safe? But we do know that at this point, we do know that Anakin is coming through the door. Anakin is coming through that door because he is, from what the comics are saying and what some other literature is saying, is that Anakin comes through the door because Palpatine told him to get the child. So we do know these things is happening. Now, there is other proof, because if you watch the video, let me go to the...
Oh, look at CJ.
Let me go to the video.
Look at me.
Let me get off of there. Stop sharing. Let me go to the video. So if we watch the video, cancel.
The preview or the?
Well, no.
Whatever?
Watch it. I'll show you. Okay, so we see. Wait, hold on. Go back. Stop. Damn it. Go back. Okay, so right here we see him. You can tell by his hair. This is the four Jedi that Anakin is fighting that are in the hallway, or that are behind that door.
You think so? Because I thought he's fighting younglings in this.
No, he's fighting grown Jedi. Look, like, okay, so we'll go through slow. I'll try to slow motion it as best I
Alright.
can. So right here, you got the four Jedi are talking. What's his face is standing right there. Sin is standing right there. Let me see if I can get it to move slowly. Oh, what the hell? What the hell just happened? Okay. Like you can see,
He
so
just comes out of nowhere.
he comes through that door, so he starts fighting him.
Yep.
So you see what's his face? They're moving around. You see, he cuts down or he hits he grabs her by the neck or whatever, whoever that is. He's fighting all four of them.
Like
cuts down.
he's literally holding her by the neck while he's fighting another guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
So
does
that's-
look like the guy. That
That's
does
the
look
guy
like
right
him.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
What the hell
And
is going?
even if you go back to the Clone Wars, there's that episode where there's that bombing on the temple on Coruscant. You can see him. He's out on the steps talking to Anakin, and it's the same person. He's out there talking to Anakin while the guy who was the bomb, his wife jumps out of the crowd. So you saw his entire face at that point, but his hair, when you see him from the back, it's the same guy.
Well, you can see in the picture, it's him. You can see his hair. And we know that he carried, like, look in the picture. You can't really see it up there. It's kind of dark. But that's his hair, and we know that he has a green lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
So Anakin comes through that door. They're banging. Grogu is seeing this. Because even though he is, like 20 or 30 years old when this is all going down, you know what I'm saying? He's still remembering these things. So then when we go back and we do the tape, that's them coming and go. Because that's what Obi-Wan was checking for. Did they get the child? That's what Obi-Wan is looking for. You get... Everybody assumes that he's putting his head down because he's like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? Anakin turned to the guy. He's feeling bad for Obi-Wan. But is Yoda feeling bad for that? Or is Yoda feeling bad because he don't know what happened to the
Right.
chosen good guy, Grogu? You know what I'm saying? What is he putting his head down for? These are the speculations. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we don't know. Until season 3 comes out, we get more information on Grogu. But what's been put out so far, we know that Anakin was not only in search to destroy the Jedi, but he was going, from what the comic book said, he was going to retrieve the other chosen one. Palpatine had already told him about it. Go get the kid.
Well, at that point, though, he could also just be looking at it as he sees how powerful Yoda is. So when he, as the senator or as the Supreme Chancellor, he knows everything essentially that's going on in the Jedi Temple. So that means he's seen the child, and it might have just been, hey, Yoda's stupid powerful. If they bring him up, I need my own Yoda.
But I think because with Anakin being so messed up, you know what I'm saying, when Obi-Wan cuts off his legs and his arm and he gets all melted and everything, that they can't use his DNA for the
cloning.
you know what I'm saying, to get a pure sample. And without them being able to get the pure sample, they need Grogu to get the pure sample in order to make the clones. For Palpatine to be cloned back at full strength.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because now they're getting shit that looks like Snoke. You know what I'm saying? That's the clones that they're getting when they clone shit. They're like, this damn thing is jacked up. He's powerful, he's cool, you know what I'm saying? He's all right, but we need full strength clones. We need like full strength Jedi Sith clones. The only way we're going to be able to do that is get Grogu. That's the reason. And this is just speculation. I'm just speculating, but that's the reason that Palpatine tells Anakin to get Grogu. You know what I'm saying? Order 66, from what I am going through, Order 66 had way more than just killing the Jedi. It was about straight putting the Empire in position where there was nothing that could stop them at all.
Right. So you think they're not even trying to kill Grogu right here?
No, I don't think they're trying to. I think Anakin is trying to capture Grogu. Anakin's going to come. You got 4 Jedis protecting this one child because they know who this child is. I think Anakin knew who the child was. I think Yoda had already told everybody who the child was. Like, he is the balance has to be kept. You got.
Well, my thing
If
is,
it
like,
was
why
came by Yoda and Yaddle going together and creating this child, or the Jedi in general creating this child, or if it happened because the Force created a child. Regardless, the child is there. Anakin is going through that door to get that child. He's there to kill all the Jedi with the 501st and to kill the Jedi. And to get this kid. So is it one of those things that is just a, you know what I'm saying, like Grogu is, you got to understand, like, and Tori brought it up earlier, was that the Force is going to stay in balance. You got one chosen one, you got to have another chosen one to stay in balance. You got to have 2 of identicals. You know what I'm saying? So, but he's still a child. You know what I'm saying? He's an infant at this point. But he's at an infant, even though he's like 20 years old, 25, whatever years old, he's remembering all this. So that does not mean that he is like a baby in the sense of, you know what I'm saying, because he can still remember. But he's not been able to protect himself and take care of himself. That's the reason he got 4 Jedi guards and Jocasta Nu comes in and escapes. Because we see in the video that only 3 of those Jedi fall. Was Jocasta Nu one of the other Jedis and she grabbed the baby and got the hell out of there? Did they tell him to leave because they couldn't handle Anakin? You know what I'm saying? Which was Darth Vader at this time. Is that something that could have happened?
I just want to, so cut. You had just said about how, you know, he was an infant at the time, so the huge age gap. Except Yoda's species lives for centuries, so of course they're going to age slower. So their development is going to be slower. They were the same age, though.
So he's 22 years old when he becomes Darth Vader. Anakin is. So
that
Grogu is 22 years old, but he can still remember this shit. You got to think, if he's an infant, you know what I'm saying, even though the time gap is different, you ask an infant, hey, do you remember this when, you know what I'm saying, when you were 2, do you remember when you were 1 year old? They're going to be like, what are you talking about? You ask a 3-year-old, do you remember when you fell and hit your arm when you was 1? They're not going to remember. They don't obtain memories. Right. So they don't obtain the memories the same. But he is remembering these things. That tells us that even though his body has not aged, his mind is aging. Because he's being able to reminisce on these things that are happening when he was 12 months old, which is 22 in his time. So even though his body is not aging at a certain tone, his mind is aging at a certain tone, at a certain speed. Like, his mind is being able to obtain knowledge and remember these things that are happening. So he's remembering these things. That's why he's being able to have flashbacks of them.
So I have a couple theories. I just want to discussion time it. Who do you guys think, like, looking at all of the evidence, who do you guys think saved Grogu?
Well, we know that Jocasta Nu was the one who got Grogu out of the thing. We know that.
That's been explained.
Yeah.
But what she's trying to ask is,
so
who initially gave Grogu to Jocasta Nu? Because Jocasta Nu was not in that hallway. She was probably protecting other younglings, getting them to a certain place, came back, and somebody probably handed her.
Who handed Grogu out of the room? There's a couple theories I will go into, but I just wanted to hear everybody else's thoughts.
Well, I mean,
I have no idea. Maybe
it could have been anybody else in the room. We know from the video that we was watching earlier that that Anakin cuts down 3 of the Jedis in there. It shows in the video that he cuts down 3 of them. So the 4th one, did they grab Grogu and get away with him? You know what I'm saying? Did Sin tell her, go get him because they knew they couldn't defeat Anakin? So go get the baby and get him, or go get him and get him out of here. And then when they were running, because we know in Kenobi, we know that Reva and them was killed in the hallway. Or the one Jedi, and because the one Jedi that's protecting them, and then they run off, and then they go in the room, and then that's when Anakin comes in and kills them. That's the regular younglings. So I don't think it was a youngling, which, I mean, to the idea that there was only that many younglings, which we don't know how many younglings they find per year or what age they are or any of that stuff. We don't have that information at hand. But it's one of those things where like everything else, we only have a limited amount of information. Yeah. So we know that from the comics or from what I could find in the comics in the last couple of days and the other books and stuff, that Anakin was told by Palpatine to get the child. So Anakin's whole thing was not just to come there and just kill the Jedi during Order 66. That was part of it, but it was also to get the child. So if the child...
Yeah, but are those comics like... Are those comics like... I don't want to say canon, but like, is the show going to reflect the comics? Like, do the comics mean anything in that?
Because we've seen it in the past where they haven't done that, and they were done at the same time. Like if we watch, we look at all the era.
The comics was actually written after.
I think that's kind of dumb.
The comics was written after they started doing the Mandalorian, so I think that they had an idea that this was already going to happen. I think all this stuff was already written. So after they started doing the Mandalorian, I think they had a feeling that it was going to come to this point. They was going to reveal some of this thing. So they had the comics come in to kind of explain this, to explain what's happening.
I think it's because they saw. I really think that they had no idea that this was going to take off. I feel like they just made a Baby Yoda. People happened to really like him, so then they wrote the comics and trying to make him like a more significant character than he actually was intended to be.
To explain what we're seeing, you know what I'm saying? It's all about, because you got to understand they're creating this as they go. You know what I'm saying? Right, they're creating all this shit as they go. So now they have to explain what is happening. It's kind of like what they're doing within the stupid High Republic. Like the High Republic books are great and everything, but then if you don't read the comics, there's like big missing ass chunks because you got to read the comics to understand what the hell's going on in the books. Well, not to understand, just because they have missing parts. And it's like, dude, why are you doing that? Like, just explain to me what the hell is going on in the book, because I bought the book. You know what I'm saying? So I want to know what's going on, but then they come out with the comics. So now you got to get the comics too. And I think that that's what they're doing with the Mandalorian. You got to follow the Mandalorian comic books, and you got to go back and look at all these different times where it jumps back in time in order to understand what's going on within the TV show, why the gaps within the TV show. And it's not even so much the gaps within the Mandalorian so much, it's the gaps within what's going on with Grogu. Because all the stuff that I was finding was about Grogu. It wasn't about Din. We know what's going on with Din. Din was part of Death Watch, or Death Watch found him, or whatever they call themselves now. They found him, so he has to keep his mask on, took his mask off willingly, took his mask off. Now he has to go back and do this. I mean, that's all explained. But the stuff that's going on with Grogu, you have to go to the comics to find, and some of the books to find the information that's about what's going on with Grogu. So you know, through what the comics have came out about the Mandalorian is that Palpatine told Anakin to get the child. So that's how we know that Anakin's coming through that door. Yeah. So we know that part of the video shows that's who he's fighting, these 4 people. Because he's going after the child. We know Jocasta Nu, because that was explained in the comic, that Jocasta Nu is the one that got Grogu out of the building. Yeah. So we know all these things because of the comics. But like they're giving us bits and pieces on what's going on from the comics within these flashbacks that Grogu is having. So that's what's like, we don't know, but there's still bits and pieces missing because they haven't gave us that information yet.
So the reason that I asked, just to hear everybody else's, because I have a couple theories of who exactly took him from the room and gave him to. So in the memory flashback that Grogu had, if you look stupid carefully, you can see on the wall there is a crest that's on the wall. And if you pay attention in Clone Wars, when Anakin walks into Barris's room, it's the exact same crest. So there's one where it could have been, even though Barris could have taken that the opportunity of Order 66 to break out of prison, she could have grabbed Grogu, had a change of heart, instead of giving him to Palpatine, could have given him, to the Jedi. Or, and I promise it's not just because of how much I love R2, in The Mandalorian, when Grogu goes to Luke and he's sitting there and R2 is there, Grogu keeps staring at R2, but we know that he's been around other droids, so he's not just surprised by the fact that it's a droid.
You think he recognizes him?
So he just keeps staring at R2 and he gets slightly happy. And then R2 does his little happy shake beeps and his whole body shakes and all of that. And obviously we can't tell exactly what the beeps, like what he was saying in his beepy language. But there was definitely a reaction that came from the two of them. So do you think that, like, I personally think that R2 possibly could have been the one to just kind of grab him and scream and run away with him? Just, wow!
I don't think that was the thing. But the thing is with that though, R2 wasn't with Anakin at that time. He was with Padme at Padme's condo.
Because when Obi-Wan comes, R2 ain't there, because R2's with Anakin when they go to Mustafar, but he ain't with them that we know of when he goes with the 501st to take down the Jedi Temple.
R2 didn't go with Anakin. R2 went with Padme and Obi-Wan to Mustafar.
No, C-3PO was with, because Anakin tells him to stay with the ship.
Oh yeah, that's the last time R2 stayed with the ship.
Because then when he leaves with Obi-Wan and Padme, because you see him rolling up on the ship at the end of Revenge of the Sith.
But at that point, though, the whole Mustafar thing, that happened,
after.
Yeah, the whole Mustafar scene happened after the attack on the temple. So R2 could have gone with Anakin to the temple, seen everything that Anakin was doing, and in his panic little anxiety and screw everything and all of this and fuck the plan, went and was like, this is not my friend anymore, and he could have gone and saved Grogu.
I mean, it's possible, and it's possible that R2 seen Grogu before. It's possible that R2 knew about Grogu in the whole situation, but we never see that within the movies. We don't see Anakin shows up with the 501st. It goes exactly from Palpatine's office right to them walking up the stairs.
Yes, but
we never see R2 to go off that R2 was there. We have no evidence that shows that R2 was there.
But R2 always goes with Anakin. So it's just by Star Wars rule, you can assume that R2 was there, even though we never see him. So at that point, you can look at the reaction of Grogu and R2 in season 2 of Mando, and there's...
You mean because you're talking about in the book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, Boba Fett. I mean, season 2.
But we don't know that he does. At this point, we don't know that him and Grogu have never met before. Maybe him and Grogu have been met before. You know, how often?
It could be a huge possibility, but just seeing them and meeting them, would that, bring that level of excitement? Because R2 has seen loads of people that he's met before and hasn't seen for a long time, and he's never shown any sort of reaction to them. R2 visibly shook and had his happy beeps when he saw Grogu.
But that could be the reaction to Yoda. He thinks he's looking at Yoda again, because the last time he sees Yoda, Yoda dies.
It
on the
could
planet with
also
Luke.
just be Disney bullshit to make people feel sweet and special and stuff.
Yeah, that. Thank you. I was about to say that too. I'm like,
Hold
You
on,
know
hold-
what?
It could-
I
it-
Hold
I
up right quick.
refuse to
Hold on
believe
right quick.
this
Hold on
is
right quick, y'all. Let's
Disney
go back because we
bullshit.
gotta go back and read some of these.
yeah, they've been really
The comments
terrible.
we've been talking for a while.
I
Infected Actual.
I
Infected
think that
Actual
R2
said-
has emotions. Leave me alone.
So we gotta go back a little bit and read some of the.
Well, look what Infected Actual said. He's like, what if Reva somehow brought Grogu to Jacasta? I like that idea. Reva,
I mean, that'd be a good way-
that'd be a-
Reva. That sounds like something Disney would do.
Well,
Yeah, that's
wasn't it in the vision? Didn't we see somebody reach over and grab Grogu in one of his visions?
And in the first flashback that we see with Ahsoka, like when she's talking about it, and we see that flashback when we first initially see it, you see hands slowly going to Grogu, and then the flashback cuts out, and then we see a little bit more, like a more in-depth one, in Book of Boba Fett when Luke's talking about it with him and making him remember, and it still gives us that cut scene of somebody reaching down to grab him. But
So
we don't
what kind of
see
hands
who
were
grabbed
they?
him. Yeah, we don't see that.
I'm pulling.
Do
it
we
up on
see
my
the
laptop.
hands?
Hold
'Cause-
on, she's just pulled it up. We're watching it right now.
All right.
I'm-
So the Bodhi Collection says the Darksaber is tied to the Force. There's more than just a cult belief. No, because the Darksaber was actually in the Jedi Temple, and the Mandalorians broke in and stole it. That's how they got it back. Dish just needs to attune himself with the blade. It's made from kyber crystals, right? So he needs to allow the Force to flow through it and into him. That's only if he's Force, which never made sense because technically, if you can't control the Force, you shouldn't be able to turn on a lightsaber. But we see that that's not the truth. It says, I'm wondering if they would say that Yoda created a fatherless child through the Force by manipulating midichlorians. My thoughts exactly. Yoda supposedly had a gift of insight, though, so maybe he only knew the prophecy was being read wrong. That's possible. Bodhi Collection said Palpatine conceived Anakin through the Force. Yoda conceived Group through the Force. Balance makes sense. Instead of know exactly that Anakin would turn, maybe it was just knew the prophecy was read wrong and tried to take the preemptive move. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. Here's an idea. Maybe Yoda created Grogu with Yaddle to attempt to create their own chosen one. It caused a shift in the balance, which in turn caused the Force to create Anakin.
No, because Anakin was created first.
Yeah, because Anakin was created first. And Yaddle stepped down because she's feeling guilty at the attempt to manipulate the balance of the Force. That's what I was getting. That's what I was thinking. Like that Yaddle stepped down. Like, dude, we did something we wasn't supposed to do. Because before I just believed they both.
That still doesn't seem like something Yoda would even do, though.
But you never know if it was something to bring the things right. You shit. You know. Yoda,
He's like, shit.
It'd be bound to determine you're gonna do something to try to make things right. But they like, dude, if you was gonna make somebody that could grow up at the same speed. What if it was
That's
Reva
true.
somehow brought Grogu to Jacasta? I mean, it's a possibility. But we see Reva is one of the kids that Anakin cuts down in that scene. She's standing in the back. Hope y'all have a good day, J-Dog. Infected. Do we know how Luke knows about Grogu? Yeah, Ahsoka told him.
So
Going or that damn force beam that shot out of the damn into space that brought, you know what I'm saying, that brought all the Jedi know. That was the whole point of that thing. Going to disagree with you, Kyle. Darksaber must be one in combat, and it's tied to the Force. It's not. It doesn't have to be one in combat. If you go back and you find out, the Jedi had the Darksaber. It was in the Jedi Temple. It was stolen from the Jedi Temple by some Mandalorians. They broke in and stole it. So you don't have to get it in combat.
Yeah, you can still.
And we
get
know
it.
that from
But when-
Rebels because what's her face gives it to Bo-Katan.
So I just went through two of the different flashbacks. The first flashback was when he was with Ahsoka. There was no hands. Like he just saw the clones come in and point at him, and that's when he kind of shut down. Then he went a little bit further in his vision that he had with Luke, because Luke was like, no, you have to face it. You don't see hands reaching for him.
I thought you seen hands reaching for
Nope.
him.
I thought so too.
Yeah, I thought.
I think it might have been just that shadow of like them walking up on him that might have got it.
No, so
You want to see some hands? I'll show you some. No, I'm just-
No,
that was a bad joke. That was
Actually,
almost
it
as
was
bad as
kinda
funny.
Star Wars team leader said maybe it was the Grand Inquisitor after killed the Temple Guard. There was a moment of weakness. Remember, the Grand Inquisitor was a Temple Guard. He might have saved him, and then got captured, saving him, giving him to Jacasanu. Then he got captured, like, no, get the hell out of here.
No.
And then when he got captured, then he was like, all right, I either have a choice. I either become the Grand Inquisitor or I get killed. Because we know that the Temple Guard, the main Temple Guard, is the Grand Inquisitor.
We were watching Clone Wars last night.
Because that's in Rebels.
It was during the trial of Ahsoka, and all the Temple Guards are around her. I'm like, and just think, one of those guys is the Grand Inquisitor. And Tori looks at me and she's like, would you shut up? I thought it was funny.
You said that?
Yeah. I literally was like, just to think, one of those guys is the Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah, what the fuck was that? Fuck you. That's like watching Phantom Menace for the first time and saying, that little kid right there, grows up to be Space Hitler. Like, you're an asshole. Like,
right? Like just be in the moment.
Now this is pod racing. Ah, good old Space Hitler. What the fuck?
I would too now.
But so, like, and you also got to remember that this could all be wrong, because technically in the and this is, I mean, we're watching the video, we see them fighting and everything, and I'm pretty sure Anakin comes through the door, he's fighting them. There might be other Jedi in the room, because we remember the 501st is shooting down the Jedi, and Grogu sees this in the other flashback. And Grogu sees them, you know what I'm saying, them trying to save him. You know, they're blocking the 501st bolts, and they get shot down. You know, we're guessing at all of these points, because we don't know exactly. I'm pretty sure that Anakin's coming through that door. I'm pretty sure that that's Anakin killing them because of the dude's hair.
Dude, yeah, I think it's Anakin coming through that door for sure.
Okay,
And then, but we don't know what, while Anakin's fighting, the other Jedi are trying to hold off the 501st. And that's what we get from the other flashbacks when when the Jedis are trying to stop the 501st. And Grogu's seeing all this, and then whoever grabs him and takes him off. I mean, it could be any Jedi within that temple that grabs him. Barriss is on the very bottom level. Yeah. She's in the thing. That's the only reason I don't think it's Barriss, because she would have to escape and get all the way up to the nursery, which, I mean, we don't know exactly how long it is. So I mean, it's definitely possible. But I think if Barriss escaped, she was getting the hell out of there.
Well, that's why I think that one that's not like high up on my list. I just thought it was a weird kind of Easter egg that got thrown in there, is because Barriss's crest was on her door that, you know, Anakin walked through to, when we find out that Barriss is the one behind the explosion. And then there is Barriss's symbol on the wall. Granted, that could also just be a
Her
wall.
master?
Not even that, but like a wall of, these are
all the
past,
different
Padawans. These are the past Padawans that have gone through here. Yeah. So
the graduation class,
right?
Right.
So
this is the class of 2022.
So I read a little bit further into my R2 theory, and so R2 is confirmed to be on Coruscant. The movie doesn't show him during the actual executioning of the Jedi that Anakin did. However, when Anakin goes to Padme's apartment after 66 on the temple, R2 is in his little in his little seat in the ship.
I mean, he could have got him.
So it suggests that R2 was with Anakin at the temple. And then when 3PO approaches him in Padme's apartment, R2 is kind of acting a little bit weird. And 3PO tells him to quiet down his beeps. His weird behavior could be because he just, saw his best friend do the unthinkable to the Jedi Temple. However, this could even explain why 3PO tells R2 to keep his beeps quiet during their brief interaction. Perhaps R2 was even telling 3PO of what he did in case other steps needed to be taken.
Yeah.
Because you never see, that's because I thought there was hands too, Mandela effect, I guess. But looking back at the videos of both of the visions that he had, there was no hands. So it could have been R2 escaping the ship, going and grabbing Grogu, putting him in a safe place or whatever, and then going back to the ship. R2 has never been one for rules. He has, but hasn't been. Yeah. He's always been the smart ass, screw you and your whatevers. And that's even last night I was sitting there talking because there was that episode that when there is the bombing on the temple, you can see the kind of frustration of, really, Ahsoka, you saved the day here? I landed the plane, you pulled Anakin out of the plane, but yeah, you left me to fly off the cliff. I had to rocket launch myself back up here. Yeah, but you saved the day. So it could have been one of those, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore, because we know that R2 has always been the one to fix everything in a kind of a pinch.
I don't know how I feel about that one, because I don't know, because R2 doesn't know who Grogu is, but at the same time, R2 is just kind of I could see R2 just randomly going in to see if he can help.
And it wasn't in Book of Boba Fett. It was the season finale of Mando season 2 when Luke comes and takes Grogu from Din. That is all of the excitement beeps and the staring and the recognition, kind of.
I don't know. I don't know. I actually don't know. Sorry, I said that a lot, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm in the same
It's
spot.
a thinker.
I mean, it could be. There's.
I like the idea because I still am very much Grogu to me is just a character that got popular, so they're writing him into stuff that I don't think he necessarily fits in because he's so popular. It's the same thing with Maul. I'm sorry, CJ, but I think Maul died.
Watch
okay,
it.
Don't apologize to me.
but because
He's
so
more
many
of a Maul
people,
fan.
yeah, but because so many people loved Maul, they brought him back as almost like a fan service, but because it was going to make him money. And I feel like Grogu's the similar way. I think Grogu wasn't necessarily intended to be a significant character. He was supposed to be significant for Mandalorian, but in the bigger picture, with Skywalker and everything, he was, not huge. But because he's so popular, people are they're writing him in to be this big, amazing, influential character when I don't think that's what he was intended to be, and I don't think that's what he fits.
Well, I wouldn't even.
And that's where with Garrus, with your comment about Maul, that was a huge reason why I didn't watch Clone Wars for the longest time, was because Maul was my favorite character. I was so mad that he only was in one movie, and I felt like they could have done a lot more with Maul. Granted, it needed to be there for Obi-Wan's arc and all of that through the prequels, but Maul, they could have done so much more with Maul. Where I did not like it was where they brought Maul back and then turned him into a spider creature, with
that
all of
dumb.
the rope. Yeah, it was stupid. Yes. And then as I'm watching Clone Wars more though, and I get to see that arc in Maul, it was okay, they brought him back. It pissed me off the way that they brought him back, but I like what they ended up doing with him with that whole thing. But I agree. Maul should have died. If that's how they wrote that movie, that should have died. He should have stayed dead. Kind of like the whole thing with Palpatine. But
That was George Lucas and Dave Filoni's decision.
I know, but it was still
There was, but you also gotta look at it like this: that Grogu is the franchise character now.
Oh, 100%.
He is the one that's brought Star Wars back to being the franchise. And then we know nothing about his past. So of course they're going to write in his past because that's what the fans are asking for. Like, I want to know about his past. All we know at this point is that he was in the temple during Order 66. And then because of these flashbacks and because of some of the things that came out in the comic books and some of the books, did we know anything about Grogu other than he's some Yoda kid. And I think the reason that they're writing him in the way that they are because he's the new Yoda. We need a new Yoda. Yoda died. We need a new Yoda. We need that dude in the future that's 9 billion years old that can lead the Jedi and be that person. The idea that he left from training kind of threw me for a loop because I figured that's what he was going to be, the new Yoda. You know what I'm saying? He was going to be the new Yoda. Luke was going to train him, and he was going to come up and not make all the same mistakes that all the other Jedi made and really bring balance to the Force. Then but which not to say that he doesn't get trained by somebody else, like that there's, as we see, Jedis are just popping up and, for all we know that freaking this whole time Mace has been alive and he just in hiding somewhere. We don't know shit. We don't know what the hell Disney's gonna do.
Motherfucker's just been chilling this whole time.
And with the Maul thing, there was actually supposed to be something else that happened with Maul that George had initially wanted to do with Maul.
Well, I've even asked people who don't really know Star Wars, and I'll talk to them kind of a little bit about Star Wars, and I'll be like, oh, you mean like the baby the Grogu and the baby Yoda and all of that. So he absolutely is kind of carrying Star Wars at the moment. But Infected actually brought. I kind of like the R2 theory. The reason I asked how Luke knows about Grogu was speculation of whether R2 told Luke about Grogu.
That's wrong because of the fact that they go to that planet and they put him on the summoning rock. Literally, it's supposed to. Anybody that's a Force user feels that in the Force. Anybody that's attuned to the Force will know exactly what it is. Luke being really the only Jedi other than Ahsoka.
Ahsoka's not a Jedi.
Well, okay. So
I am no Jedi.
CJ, that groan was just fuck you.
I am in the middle of saying.
I'm sorry. Go
ahead. For this purpose, Ahsoka is a Jedi.
Anybody that's attuned to the Force that has proper training, Luke, Ahsoka, anybody that's in the Sith. So Palpatine probably felt it. Vader probably felt it. Okay, so Maul's. Well, yeah, they're dead. Never mind. No.
Palpatine's not really dead because he comes back.
We do not claim those 3 movies. Those movies are not a part of this storyline. Fuck what they think. We do not claim them. I do not care what people have to say. There are good parts in it, and that's it. And I am in the middle of saying something here. So, when they put him on the damn summoning rock. When you put him on the summoning rock, anybody that is attuned to the Force feels it. So anybody that's still alive, Jedi-wise, anybody that has some proper training, any Sith, like a former Inquisitor that didn't die, that has proper training, will feel this riff in the Force. So, yeah, R2 did not tell Luke shit. He didn't tell him anything. Why? Because R2 can't feel that, but Luke can feel that atone for the Force and gets the answer.
What's going on, Chris?
When we see this at the end of the season, Luke knows exactly what this is because it's a similar feeling to Yoda. The reason why R2 got happy is because the motherfucker looks like Yoda. And the last time he saw Yoda, Yoda died. You know why? You know why he was happy? Because he watched Yoda die with Luke. I am tired of arguing about that. We literally saw R2 go, oh, as Yoda dies. So when he sees another Yoda, he is happy. Why? Because he gets another little green friend. I don't care what
grow up and beat him up with a stick.
My point exactly.
But so I agree.
Damn.
But in however,
It was a rant.
that was. But in
was.
however, like
You okay, buddy?
infected,
I had to get that out. I'm sorry.
like infected said, that wouldn't tell Luke or any of the Force users who it is. Just that there is a
Yeah, that's
Force
true.
on the thing. So Luke
So
only
then
knows. Luke would only know that there is a Force user out there, a powerful one. However, he doesn't know what he's looking for. If
But
that was
he
the
is a Jedi,
case,
and Jedi's first Luke's gonna go there, then he's gonna see the battle with the stormtroopers, then he's gonna follow the whole little thing. He's gonna follow him back to where he finds him.
And
But-
the thing
but
is that when they
that's-
report this, so we see this in Mandalorian 2, where there's reports, New Republic reports of action going on, stormtrooper remnants. Like we saw, what's his nut talk to Cara Dune about destroying that stormtrooper base.
Wait, we saw what?
That X-wing pilot.
yeah,
Oh.
the
I heard.
old Chinese dude.
Okay, that's not.
That's
okay,
not politically
all
correct,
good.
but whatever.
No, CJ was like, we saw what's his nut, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is what's
So
his
the
nut?
the X-wing pilot that saves Din.
No, okay,
and, like,
I got you.
So
I got
we
you.
see him going around writing these reports. Luke is still a part of the New Republic. He still talks to his sister. So you're telling me that these guys, they see a shiny ass Mandalorian and a small little green guy, and they're not going to hear anything about this? My ass, Luke pays attention to everything. Why? Because he's a Jedi.
and
He's
plus-
trying to bring peace to the galaxy. So he's
There-
going to turn around and he's going to hear these reports. He's going to read these reports. He's going to get told things on top of the summoning rock, on top of everything that he's reading. He
Less
has
is a
some
Sith.
general idea.
But
Unless it's a Sith that's masking their dark side abilities, which a Sith that's masking his dark side abilities is not going to get on the rock. That
Make sense.
energy flows out into space. Every Force sensitive person is going to be able to feel it. Luke is in tune to the Force and very powerfully in tune to the Force because at this point he is really the only Jedi that there is. It's not too hard for him just to follow the Force to where Grogu is at.
correct, but that rock would only show the location. It would say, "Hey, this." It's like a beacon. Hey, this rock right here. This rock.
Hey, we have a shiny rock right here.
It would only give him the location.
But he would be able to feel Grogu in the Force
Yes,
no
but-
matter where Grogu is at
but
in the galaxy.
But he wouldn't be able to know what Grogu looked like. He wouldn't be able to know
No,
who Grogu
he's
was.
just gonna follow.
So-
he's gonna
He's
follow
just
that.
going to follow that feeling.
He would.
He's gonna follow that feeling. He's gonna follow
But-
what the Force tells him to do until he finds him, and he'd be like, "Okay, it's Grogu."
He is, but infected actually, in theory, anyone who is a Jedi, or rather Force sensitive, since Grogu isn't a Jedi, could have activated the rock. It could have been anyone. He knows what it is, not who it is, and how.
He didn't know it was
important-
Grogu when he walked
and how-
into the room with Din and
how-
all them.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
how important Grogu.
He just knew
truly
that
is
he had to
outside
follow
of-
this.
Yeah,
he had to
outside of
follow
him.
the thing.
Outside of him being a Force user, that's the only thing that Luke is the only.
And that's when
important-
he knew.
So I wonder if Luke was like, "Hey, we gotta go find this Force user," and that's when, he's like, "Oh, well, this is what," like, talking to R2, because R2 is his sounding board. He's the only person that Luke has to talk to, really. So that he's going to
Sounds so
say something to
depressing when you put
R2,
it
and
that way.
R2 is going to be like, "Hey, listen, motherfucker, this is actually who this is. This is what's going on. It all started with
But
your
how does
damn
R2
dad."
know?
That's the
I don't
thing.
think R2
That's-
does.
I don't
That's
think R2
taking.
knows.
That's going back to the theory that R2 was the one who saved Grogu.
But there's thousands of Force sensitive people in the galaxy. There's a whole planet of Force sensitive people in the
You're-
galaxy right now.
You're correct, but just think of.
So it could be
R-
anybody. Just like it
Okay.
says, it could be anybody. How would R2 know that it's him?
because so Luke has no one other than R2. So
Okay.
Luke could have been like, "Yo, there was this huge."
So
like,
you're
we
going to
gotta-
tell
we
me
gotta-
a droid assumed it was Grogu?
No, so okay, R2 is way more than a droid. Anyway,
But anybody could have activated that rock. How was R2
could've.
supposed to know
So-
it was Grogu?
well, if you let me fucking talk, Kyle. So Luke could have been like, "Yo, we gotta go now. The presence that I am sensing is ridiculously powerful. I don't know what it is. We gotta go now." And R2 could have been like, "Hey, there was a thing I saved this tiny creature that was the sole focus of Anakin and the 501st. They were the sole, like, obviously Palpatine wanted him for whatever reason, but he could have been like, yo, so if it's time to sit down and have a conversation about what the fuck I did.
So 28 years later, he just gonna bring this up because Luke says we gotta go. There's a strong force sensitive.
By the
R2
way,
can't
something I
sense
never
the
told you
force.
about.
No, so but that's the thing though. With what I get what she's saying here is that he Luke feels it. R2's like, hey, by the way, it might be this little green shit here over here. Just so you know, I saved one like this. I didn't think he survived after this, but this might be him. Fun fact.
Oh my god.
Your dad's
Okay,
a
so
Darth
why didn't R2 ever tell Luke Skywalker that Darth Vader was his father?
That's some real shit though.
You know what I'm saying? R2 knew that shit.
Right?
Hold on. You hear? Hey, my name's Luke
Like, why do you say, hey,
Skywalker.
Luke, hey, motherfucker, your dad is Darth Vader? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like you be sitting there, I'm Luke Skywalker, I'm here to save you, and R2 just looks over at him. Oh no! Run away from you.
I mean, I don't think R2 just be spitting out shit to anybody. I don't think R2 tells people shit. I really don't think that any of these motherfuckers even understand what R2 is even saying.
R2 is
at
a
all.
ride or die character, so he's not going to just open up until he trusts a person, and he's already been fucked over by one Skywalker. So why would
he tell him about Grogu?
Exactly.
Grogu might be his savior.
Kill another one.
That's what I'm saying. Is you have to have like that. He has to get the trust in this Skywalker in order to be like, okay, so here's actually what happened. But he's not going to say anything about Anakin because he's a ride or die droid. He's not going to be out here telling everybody else's secrets. He's going to be like, hey, Yoda probably told me not to say anything. Like, I noticed the way Yoda said that, like, or how Obi-Wan said, your father was killed by Vader. Like, this probably isn't something that I should say. This probably is a thing that he's gonna learn. It's gonna help him focus. Like, this is gonna be a huge moment for Luke. I don't want to take that moment away.
Think like that. That boy don't think like that. And you know what's sad? Don't think about this. If going off that concept, right? I have to learn to trust another Skywalker. What does Luke do that shuts R2 down?
He leaves him.
He leaves his ass. So you're really telling me
He abandons him.
he abandons R2 after No, I love that theory. I love it to death.
Honestly, I don't
see
think
that being a thing.
I don't think that R2 fucking even gives a shit about none of this. He's just like, as long as I don't die, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I don't think R2 gives a fuck about the Jedi, the Sith, none of that shit. He's just like, fuck it, I'm just trying to die.
I've been through 3 war campaigns. You better not kill me now.
Yeah, I don't think fucking R2 gives a shit.
Veteran.
He's like, fuck this. I'm done with your Skywalker family drama.
I'm too old for this shit.
Your
And then-
sister's a lot
and then-
cooler than you, damn it.
Then Luke dies. Leia dies, and then he just sitting there like, fuck, again now? I got to start all over again with some new people. Then Rey probably takes him. It's here, you know what I'm saying? So now he's with Rey, and she's over there calling herself a Skywalker. He's probably like, fuck these goddamn Skywalker. Again, damn it. Fuck, oh shit, I got stuck with another one. Bitch, you're a Palpatine. Shit, I'll probably be better off.
All I see is R2 turning into Chopper and just getting violent.
Like, he just finally snaps when Rey is like, I'm Rey Skywalker, and he just snaps and he's like, I'm fucking done. I'm done. He just rolls into the abyss of the desert.
I'm going to let a crate
Because you got to think about it. BB-8 has to go with Poe because that's his droid. He's not going to go with Rey.
Oh, she's the rightful heir to 3PO and R2. Oh, those poor bastards. Oh, no.
Hold on a second. We see 3PO's level of anxiety being with Anakin and Padme. Now we get to see it with Rey. Like he's done. He's just a shaking metal humanoid or human shaped droid at this point. He just walks around shaking.
The calculations of you being a Skywalker is 0, motherfucker.
That's a K2SO comment. That's a K2SO comment. R2 just takes off with the Falcon.
No, that's the thing. 3PO and R2, they go through. Padme and Anakin, and then they deal with Luke and Leia, and now they have to deal with Rey's ass. I am sorry. These droids are seasoned veterans. They do not deserve that kind of treatment.
C-3PO was like, damn it, can you mind wipe me again? Shit, I don't remember none of this shit.
He's like, I don't want to remember this.
You know, 3PO is on the highest dose of Xanax that somebody can even have. He's just like, you know what? I don't even care anymore. I'm like popping 4 more Xanaxes to deal with this shit. Call me when it's over.
All right, guys. Let me. Who do you think is coming through that door?
It's Anakin.
It's Anakin in the 501st.
Anakin.
Well, I don't think it's no, because
no question.
Anakin doesn't. In the flashbacks, we don't see Anakin walk through the door. It's just the clones.
We don't see no door. We just see them fighting in the hallway. I just watched both of them.
Yeah.
They're just fighting in the hallway. You don't see those doors yet.
No, I'm talking about in the flashbacks of Grogu. We don't see Anakin
I just watched them
through that. Yeah.
There is no door. They're in a hallway. It doesn't show a door.
Oh yeah, fair. So it has to be Anakin in the 501st.
I think it's Anakin, and then the 501st is behind him. I think he's telling him, "Hey, watch this shit," and goes in there.
he just slams a beer and he's like, "Let's go."
You know the crazy thing? I just watched the flashback. That looks like Jacasta News, the one that gets shot down in the middle. Mm-hmm. The bun on her hair and everything. That looked like her. So I don't know.
It does, but also there's so many people that are talking like through Reddit and everything else. It's like Jocasta knew she would be in the library saving all the fucking books.
Yes, because
I feel like
Reddit is who I trust when it comes to my Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
right.
Reddit is
a reliable source.
I'm not saying Reddit as a reliable source. It's just where everybody tends to go for their conversations and their discussions.
Right.
So all of the Star Wars fans through Reddit is like, no, fuck that. She'd be over in the library saving all the books. It's going to be Wanda Sykes playing herself as a Jedi.
Records aren't that complete anymore now, are they, bitch?
All of that work to save all of those, and Ghost Yoda just blows it all up.
I'm still trying to figure out who Jocasta knew pawned Grogu off when Vader was coming to kill her.
Oh, real shit, though.
Yeah, because he just stuck in that thing. Like, has he been in that bubble for 30 years? You know, his hand just floating around. Ain't nobody seen him until Din opened it. Like, who was taking care of him? You know, like, honestly, I think it's Anakin coming through the door. We're going to see Anakin come through that door fighting, and that's the reason that Grogu didn't want to train with Luke, because he's like, dude, your dad tried to kill me. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how he's looking at it. Your dad and these stormtrooper dudes tried to kill me. And I think that's the flashbacks. That's what these flashbacks is leading. That's why he was like, oh, shit, Luke, yeah, you might be cool and everything, but I'm getting the hell away from you. Which, I'll go back to the R2 theory. And the reason I think you might be on to some with R2 theory, just because R2 is the one that flew the ship back to get him back to Din. In the book of Boba Fett. If you remember, R2 is the one that brought Grogu back to Din. So I think the R2 and Grogu's relationship is a little bit more than what people are looking into. I don't know if he saved him, but I have a feeling that there's going to be something else to come out with R2 and him down the road somewhere. Because I guarantee we're going to see Luke show up in Mandalorian to help Din or something. Like, they're all going to be together at one point in the we're going to see Boba Fett again. We're going to see Luke again. We're going to see all these people in Mandalorian, because they got to keep it going. And I have a feeling that we're going to see some new people. I'm kind of excited that we get to see some new people. I think that's one of the things I like about the Mandalorian, is they keep dropping new people on us, you know, saying, bringing back people and stuff like that, bringing old Star Wars in with the new Star Wars.
So, in the encampment where Mando found him,
Or he feigned him.
It was the Nitko hideout on the desert world Arvala 7. It was controlled by a gang of Nitko mercenaries in 9 ABY, and they were guarding the infant Grogu. So, and then at that point, IG-11 and Din raided to search it. So he was being guarded by these mercenaries. So Din actually saved him from these mercenaries, or stole him from these mercenaries, but he was being guarded by them.
Okay.
So maybe they knew the significance, or was like, hey,
They just knew he was a payday.
Could be. They were determined to fight off or kill anyone who came seeking the child. So none of them turned in the bounty. They had Grogu for, a decent amount of chunk of time, and none of them turned him in. But they were defending him by killing off everybody who came after him.
They wasn't doing a very good job because Mando and what's his face just came in and killed them all like it was shit.
IG-11.
Oh man,
They killed the shit out of their ass. It's like it wasn't even that hard for them to do it. It was like if anybody that had any type of real skills, they'd have walked in there and just murked the shit out of them.
And that's Queel was the one who said many have passed through those parts in search of the child, and all of the many to date had died in their quest.
All right, so we all agree there's more to Grogu than what meets the eye, and we think that they're writing Grogu in to have a larger point within the story.
Yeah,
and the Anakin's coming through that damn door.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's coming in to murk it up.
All right.
Goodbye,
So
Jedi.
we got a what if today?
Baby.
Oh, I have a list of what ifs actually.
She said, I have a list
like,
of what if.
You got a what if? He's like, baby.
I did too. I was like, babe.
Okay.
Baby, lock them doors.
All right.
It only takes one decision to decide the direction of the galaxy. A decision that will influence the outcome. But if that decision went the other way, reality as we know it would change forever. The galaxy would be on a different course. Things that have happened would cease to exist. A new narrative would be etched into creation. So we are going to analyze those other possibilities when we ask, what if?
Okay. So, what if during the battle with Maul, Qui-Gon actually survived? How do you think it would have aggressively changed?
Maul wouldn't have got cut in half, and Obi-Wan would have turned out to be a bitch.
So
Obi-Wan wouldn't have been a bitch. Obi-Wan would have been way better.
No, I think that. So I have a fun little list of what ifs, and then
I think Qui-Gon would have went. I think Qui-Gon would have went to the dark side as soon as Dooku got a hold of him, and then Obi-Wan would have followed him. Anakin would have went, and it would have been way easier for them to dominate the fucking galaxy.
Whoa.
Hold on. If you remember the book, Master and Apprentice, Qui-Gon Jinn was offered a seat on the council. And they went on a mission, which made him want to train Obi-Wan a little bit more. But if they went and saved, let's say they go out and they save Padme, and they save the Gungan city and stop all this attack from the Separatists, I think at that time, if Obi-Wan would have defeated Maul in that moment, let's say Qui-Gon's knocked out, not dead, but knocked out, and Maul and Obi-Wan fight, Obi-Wan kills Maul. I think at that point, the rank, Obi-Wan's rank would have changed. Qui-Gon would have either taken the seat or turned around, passed off Obi-Wan, because obviously he defeated a Sith. He automatically gets a rank up. It's a level up kind of deal, I guess. He would have trained Anakin.
So
because in the Master and Apprentice, they stated that Qui-Gon was still conflicted even after the battle on Naboo, that he was conflicted going up to that battle. He was conflicted with whether or not he should train Anakin or take the seat at the Jedi Council.
So here's my thoughts on
Became a Sith, conquered the galaxy with Palpatine. Anakin became Vader, kills them all.
Definitely sounds more fun that way.
Chris, I think Dooku would have tried to pull Qui-Gon to the dark side, but he declined. Dooku kills him, and it sends Dooku down a darker path to perhaps kill Sidious. Good. So my thoughts are, if Qui-Gon survived, we already know that Satine and Obi-Wan love each other very deeply. If he would have survived, Obi-Wan wouldn't have had to step up and train Anakin, because he was kind of forced into that position by himself. Granted, it was by himself, but now Qui-Gon isn't there to train Anakin, so he steps up and he does it. But if Qui-Gon survived, Qui-Gon probably would have trained Anakin. Obi-Wan could have possibly fully left the Order to go be with Satine. Anakin now has the stable father figure that he needed and that he was desperately searching for, that he couldn't get out of Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan was more of a brother than a father figure. He was never a father figure. He was Anakin's brother. Even Obi-Wan stated it. You were my brother. Anakin would have got the father figure he needed. He wouldn't have turned dark, possibly. Which means the younglings wouldn't have been murked.
Oh man, you're taking all the fun out of the story.
Now you're ruining it.
Qui-Gon dying was the epitome of everything after.
I still think Anakin would have went to the dark side.
Oh yeah, I think
it was in his heart.
I think it would have. He could have possibly, but I think that it would have been a more of a difficult decision for him, because granted, he didn't talk to Obi-Wan about the visions that he had of Padme dying. If he had a father figure to talk to, he probably would have, and especially with Qui-Gon being the way he is, and knowing, and Qui-Gon taught him about the midichlorians and put it in a way that he could understand them. Qui-Gon was the one who saved him from being a slave with Watto.
Shmi is the one that caused him to become to the dark side, and it wasn't her death. She told him to follow the fire in his heart. It's in the book Brotherhood. He talks about it a whole bunch in the book Brotherhood.
But did Obi-Wan ever really counsel him on what happened? Obi-Wan just kind of ignored it.
Because she talks about, what is the fire dragon, CJ, that she talks about that's in his heart, and always follow that fire dragon. That's the dark side with him. And he had been following the dark side before he ever even met Qui-Gon.
But at that point, though, he could have had that father kind of to talk to and be like, hey, this is what I did. I did it out of anger. Only
thing difference that I think would have happened if Qui-Gon would have survived, Palpatine would have spent way more time with Anakin and got him to convert anyway. He would have been, because he knew that at this time, he didn't have to spend that much time, because Obi-Wan didn't know what he was doing. If he had Qui-Gon, I think Palpatine would have kept him close, would have kept him around him a lot more, and then still converted him. And then I have a feeling that Anakin would have killed Qui-Gon.
But the reason that he was always with Palpatine wasn't because, well, there was a few times that Palpatine specifically requested Anakin, but it was always, if you look back at the Clone Wars, it was Obi-Wan that was sending him. It was Obi-Wan and Mace that was sending him to Palpatine. Granted, he was the chosen one. He gets all of the fancy jobs. But if Qui-Gon was there and had Yoda's ear, because we already see it, he convinced Yoda to kind of sort of accept Anakin.
No, he didn't. He was dead. Obi-Wan told Yoda that he was going to train him because of his master, because his master asked him to train him, so he was going to do it, and Yoda agreed.
Yes, but he agreed.
It wasn't Qui-Gon. When Qui-Gon was talking to Yoda and the council, they said that they would decide it at a later time. After that, Qui-Gon gets killed.
Yeah, but at that point, Qui-Gon has already made numerous statements about it. He said that he would train the boy. So Qui-Gon could have done the exact same thing that Obi-Wan did. Obi-Wan only did that because he knew how important it was to Qui-Gon.
But this is the thing. During the Clone Wars, they were Palpatine was sending Obi-Wan and Anakin off to a lot of different things. The Jedi Council and Palpatine was sending them off because he knew he didn't have to pay attention because Obi-Wan couldn't train him the way that he needed to be trained. He was going to be envious of Obi-Wan. Now, if Qui-Gon was left there, he would have kept him close. They wouldn't have been sent out on all their missions. Palpatine would have kept him close. He would have kept Qui-Gon and Anakin on Coruscant. And then he would have just had more time to spend with Anakin, and he still would have converted him.
But Qui-Gon wasn't a stupid person, so Yoda already had suspicions about Palpatine. He just couldn't he couldn't pinpoint what they were. And
the Sun Dragon, that's what it's called.
Yeah. You can see it all through the Clone Wars. Was he, he's hesitant about things sometimes, but he's like, okay, well, it's for the Republic, we'll do this. But he always had his eye on Palpatine. So there's Qui-Gon, who is also, and at that point, if Palpatine did keep Qui-Gon and Anakin on Coruscant, that means Qui-Gon was also spending a lot of time with Palpatine, which means Qui-Gon also could have fed into Yoda's suspicions and be like, there's something not right here. Palpatine could have been discovered a lot sooner.
It's possible, but regardless of the situation, Anakin was going to the dark side.
Oh yeah, that ain't.
Yeah,
changing.
that wasn't going to change. The only difference would have changed was who would have trained him, and then I don't think that Qui-Gon had the lightsaber skills to beat Anakin. So if he had to face Anakin once Anakin became Vader, then Anakin would have cut down Qui-Gon. The thing that made the only reason Obi-Wan was able to beat Anakin, well, one, because he had the high ground, but second, the only reason he lasted that long is because of his lightsaber form. Qui-Gon had a more aggressive lightsaber form, he wouldn't have been able to beat Anakin.
Nope.
He wouldn't have been able to hold off Anakin because Obi-Wan's lightsaber form was all about defense.
That's why Qui-Gon trained him that way.
Right.
So then Anakin, it'd have probably been worse because Anakin would have killed Qui-Gon, and then Anakin would have never became the big shiny, giant Darth Vader dude, and he would have been able to use all of his midichlorians, and he would have had all of his power, and then it would have just been way worse because then he'd have probably cut down Palpatine and then just fucking destroyed the entire galaxy because he would have wanted more power. So Anakin's whole thing was the Sun Dragon. The Sun Dragon, his mom told him about that ever since he was a baby. Mm-hmm. And he listened to that Sun Dragon. That's what that dragon within his heart, that fire within his heart. That's what turned him to the dark side. He was already on the path to the dark side way before he ever even met Qui-Gon or Obi-Wan.
So Chris brings up an excellent kind of like sub what if onto mine. What if Qui-Gon, he survives all of that? He leaves the Order with Anakin and becomes a sort of gray Jedi. And then OJ.
OJ did it!
Okay, I'm slightly dyslexic. Leave me alone. OGJ was fine with Anakin and Padme openly having the marriage. Lots of things would change there. Anakin wouldn't have had to feel like he had to keep the visions that he was seeing of Padme and the baby dying. He didn't have to go to Palpatine and be like, I'm having these terrible visions.
Well, Palpatine one that was giving him the vision, so Palpatine knew it's about the vision.
I know, but at that point, though, Palpatine was feeding off of that fear already because he knew the visions he was having. If they were gray Jedis, then Qui-Gon could have been content with Anakin and Padme being open about their marriage. Padme sure as hell wasn't. She went off on Anakin because of it. But I they could have had their open, not open marriage, because that's a completely different thing. Their openness about their relationship.
Padme would have never left the Senate.
No, but Anakin could have talked to Qui-Gon about these visions of, hey, my wife is dying in my head every single night. And Qui-Gon could have given him direction.
Yeah, well, Yoda tried to give him direction, and
but Yoda
didn't listen. I mean, you can't. That's why attachment is forbidden.
I think it was called Duel of the Fates for a reason. So I think it drastically would have affected things if he.
Oh yeah.
I mean, some would have changed. I just don't think
was changing in that moment.
I don't think there would have been anything to keep Anakin from turning to the dark side. He was going to the dark side regardless. He was bred and created to go to the dark side the whole time.
Oh, I disagree.
I agree. I agree with that statement because of the Grogu thing. I agree. The reason why, and I think Anakin was bred to be on the dark side, and the reason why Yoda, like the theory that Kyle's talking about with Grogu being made by Yaddle and alchemy, I think Yoda and Yaddle sensed Anakin's presence when he was born, obviously being the first one born. Lost his shit. They lost their shit, and they're like, "We have to do something." That is a dark side presence that I have never felt before. Turn around and made Grogu to combat that, not realizing, hey, we just made a baby practically that's gonna live for 700, 800, 900 years, and by the time Vader or that dark side presence is known, we don't know if he's the same species. We don't know if it's going to take 800, 900 years, or it's going to be here in the next 20, or it's going to be here in the next 20. So I think I agree with that. I think Anakin was bred for the dark side, and I think Grogu was, alchemized to be the light side. And obviously Yaddle and Yoda were like, shit, he's us. This is going to take forever, bro. Like, he ain't going to be able to do shit for another 180 years.
Well, I mean, and you got to think they've never used force alchemy before, because force alchemy and manipulations of metachlorians and stuff like that, you're using. They probably use parts of their self in the creation. You know what I'm saying? Because in force alchemy, you use living flesh in order to grow new flesh, and you use the force to grow that flesh.
So Yoda be cutting off special parts to make a new one.
Yeah. So Lenny kind of went into where I was trying to explain to Yoda he didn't know what the visions were. Anakin just said, I'm not okay, essentially. And Yoda was like, well, man the fuck up. Lenny said Yoda was too into what he was doing to truly listen like he should have. Anakin never told Yoda exactly what it was that was bugging him so much. So if he had that and he didn't feel like he would get persecuted for this or get kicked out of the only family that he's really ever had outside of his mom, then Anakin probably would have said something. Anakin probably would have said something to Qui-Gon if it wasn't immediate, kick out. An immediate dismissal. So Padme and the kids could have survived. The kids did survive, but Padme could have survived, and they could have had one big happy family if Qui-Gon did leave the order.
But then you have to think about it like this. Anakin was ready to give up everything just to save Padme. What do you think he would have been willing to give up to save his kids and his wife?
Oh, man. He would have given up so much more.
He would have killed everything that was, and that's the reason you're not supposed to have attachment. That's what he told. Basically, he told Yoda what was wrong. He told Yoda, he was like, I'm having visions of somebody dying. And Yoda said, somebody that you care about. And he was like, you're not supposed to have these visions because you're not supposed to care about people. You're not supposed to care like that. You're not supposed to love. That's an attachment.
He was immediately
and attachments lead to the dark side. So it wouldn't have mattered like what he would have told Qui-Gon, hey, I'm having visions of my wife dying in childbirth, because Qui-Gon would have known about it. Then Qui-Gon would have been like, you have to let them things go.
Yeah, but I also think you have to notice like that a lot of like how we behave and what we believe as adults is influenced by how we were raised and how we viewed the world growing up. You know what I mean? So Qui-Gon could have given Anakin a completely different worldview.
Yeah, that's always possible.
And like Chris said, it's hard to speak your mind when you are living a don't ask, don't tell kind of life, especially with Anakin's marriage.
Well, and that's the thing is, so in Master and Apprentice,
you don't know if he would have been. You don't know that, because Qui-Gon followed even a gray Jedi. You're not like, even if he was a gray Jedi, Anakin The whole thing was Anakin kept a secret his entire life. That secret is going to eat at you no matter what. So if it wasn't about her and the kids and it wasn't about that stuff, it would have sooner or later that secret would have came out that he had that fire within him. And then Qui-Gon would have had a choice, kill him or let him turn to the dark side.
Or Qui-Gon could have done a completely 180 on everybody and said, you know, I understand there are rules. It's kind of going back to what I said, what Garrison and I were kind of talking about, I believe it was Wednesday, about how that's not true balance, though, is Qui-Gon could have taught him the true balance between the Force, because segregating into this is the light side, this is the dark side, oh, but you're not allowed to ask questions, you're not allowed to know anything about the dark side, that's not true balance.
Well,
that's Qui-Gon could have been like, okay, well, you know that this is against the rules, but I understand your fear, and could have handled the situation a lot different. Anakin never talked to Obi-Wan about the visions that he was seeing because he was immediately shut down by Yoda. So why would he go and say something to somebody else who could have, you know, saved? And Anakin was already having the thoughts of Obi-Wan and Padme having an affair. But why would you go to somebody else when you've already been shut down by one? So if Qui-Gon survived, left the Order with Anakin,
I'm gonna get into this because Master and Apprentice also taps onto this too with what's his nut that's defending the ruler of the planet that he's on, this other Jedi. Qui-Gon walks into the room, obviously, because on the temple there is no bounds. You could be butt ass naked and a Jedi can walk through the door of the temple. And Qui-Gon kind of knows that kind of rule and doesn't think that it might be different on this planet. Walks through the door, sees Rael Averross. He's stark naked and he's got a girl in his bed. And Rael's like, "What? You've never had an urge?" Kind of attitude. And Qui-Gon's like, "Yes, I've had the urge, but it's against the rules." That is where I combat that, because even then, even when he's conflicted about being on the council or training Obi-Wan, he's in a conflicted state. He's still remembering the rules that he lives by, the guidelines. He does trust in the Force because Dooku trained him that way. Dooku trained him to seek and look at the ancient text, look at the ancient, like all of that, and look at all these things. And he was training Obi-Wan that way, the way he was trained by Dooku. But he still turned around and knew that having an attachment is a dark side thing. So seeing railing a girl, pun intended, and doing all these things, he's still like, hey, that's forbidden. You're not. And Rael pops off. He's like, no, love is forbidden. Being in love is forbidden. Rolling around in the sheets is not. So you need to step back. You need to stop acting holier than holy and realize that we have urges. We have to meet them. Now, if Anakin was trained by Rael, that I might see. But Qui-Gon still believes in a lot of the rules of the Jedi. He just doesn't believe that the Jedi are taking on the role as peacekeepers and as entrusting the Force.
Well, you got to remember something. The reason that the rules were instated in the first place because too many Jedi were going to the dark side. Right. Because there couldn't be a true balance because the dark side has a stronger pull than the light. So the reason that the rules were instated because there was too many Jedi fallen. So if you go back to Dawn of the Jedi, they applied in a balance. But too many of them were going to the dark side because there can't be a balance. The dark side is stronger because natural instinct to have more power, to have more things, that's natural.
Right.
You're going against nature of presence. So that's the reason that they created the rules. Because they knew if you went too close to that other side, you was going to get drug over there. And you couldn't do anything about it. That's why there isn't no gray Jedis in this time period, because there can't be a gray Jedi. If you're a gray Jedi, technically you're a fucking Sith, because you done allowed yourself to go over to the dark side, because you're allowing dark side things to influence you. That's all about the influence of dark and light. You resist the influence of the dark in order to stay on the light. You can't do those things, and that's exactly what Anakin did. Is he allowed them things to influence him. He allowed love and attraction and wants and power and all these things to attract him, and then that's when he went to the dark side. That was all, but it was already instilled in him ever since he was a child that he was better because he had a sun dragon heart.
So Chris there's a couple comments I want to address. Chris said Qui-Gon would have made the argument of why does Mundi have 7 wives and Anakin can't have one? Valid point.
Because he didn't love none of his wife. He did it to procreate for his species.
Because his species is very, very...
Star Wars team leader.
Sorry, go ahead.
Star Wars team leader said the child being born is what pushed Anakin towards the dark side, with the Force trying to balance itself. So fair. So Anakin was born, of the Force. So for sake of this argument, so he was born of the Force. The Force tried to combat that with another powerful creature. So that those two powerful creatures existing at the same time, that could have been now there is 2 extremely powerful creatures. The only way to bring balance to them instead of having 2 powerful creatures on one side would be to have 1 powerful creature per side. So Star Wars team leader is kind of blaming Grogu for Anakin turning dark.
Anakin's mother was the fault of that.
Oh yeah,
she was the fault, the real fault in him going to the dark side. Because what she taught him as
women.
So he's laughing at Chris's comment because I tried to say dark side and I said dyke side instead, and he's like, scissoring lightsaber form is the strongest of the dyke side of the Force.
All right, do we got some news and rumors?
Yes, I have one thing about Hasbro, and that's about it.
I wonder if it's the same thing that I got. We'll find out. Let's get to news and rumors.
This is Alton Castle for the only news you need, the HoloNet News.
Yeah.
Better, huh?
Lenny makes a point.
I like it.
Oh yeah, you wasn't here Wednesday when we
I watched it on
unveiled
Wednesday.
it.
I was in the chat.
So really
He
quick.
was?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Really quick. Lenny says only in accordance with the new Jedi code that Yoda put in place, but until the 6th season of Clone Wars, Yoda didn't know he wasn't fully trained, and Yoda wasn't balanced until the 6th season of Clone Wars.
Well, okay.
Yoda's master was a Sith. Was taught. Yeah, Yoda's master was a Sith. It was a dark side user who taught Yoda about the Force.
There's a lot of stuff in this.
So
okay. So, you were saying something. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I was going to get into news. You were saying something.
Go ahead.
Hasbro Pulse fan stream on February 1st at 11 o'clock starts with Star Wars. Their first introduction for this Pulse for the new line of toys. They are starting off strong with Star Wars. And the only reason why I know that they're going to start off strong like this is because we have so many TV shows and not so many toys about them. I mean, shit. We have Bad Batch. We haven't seen any toys of the new Bad Batch armor. We have season 3 of Mando. We have all this Ahsoka stuff. We have the Tales of the Jedi. We have a younger Dooku, and we don't even have a toy of fucking Dooku. Come on, Hasbro, get on top of that. I'm sorry. I like Dooku, and I love Tales of the Jedi, and I was expecting Hasbro to have something of Dooku. Nothing. Not a thing. Not even a Funko Pop. Like, that's depressing and it's a big letdown through Hasbro. But they are starting at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on February 1st. Depending on what day that is, really, will probably be tuning in and watching it to see what the hell's going to happen.
What date is it?
1st.
It's a Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, no, I'll be at work.
Well,
I will probably be tuning it. No, I won't.
Nope. Depending on what day it is, I'll probably tune
11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which means it's about 9 o'clock our time.
Yeah, I'll be
Yeah.
at work. I won't even be on
9,
lunch.
10.
Hasbro also, there was a leak came out of Hasbro that they are laying off 15% of their workforce. And since they're the main Star Wars license for action figure, but it is not clear as of yet which teams will this affect. Will it affect Star Wars or Marvel, but 15% of their force is being cut.
I honestly think it's going to be in the Marvel.
Hasbro. That's everywhere, though.
Yeah, that's everywhere.
Amazon just started laying a bunch of people off. Apple, this is happening all over.
And Facebook, we were supposed to. My company was supposed to build a Facebook center out here, and the recession hit, and they're redoing every bid from concrete to roof, from top to bottom. So this
isn't unique to Hasbro. This is what's happening now. This is the recession that we're in, or whatever you want to call it.
So to the Lego fans like me,
yes,
there is new Star Wars helmets that have been announced through Legos. So you are going to have Captain Rex, Commander Cody, and Princess Leia's helmet from when she saved Han from Jabba. They are available for pre-order now, and they are set to release on March 1st. Talked about those ones already. Ewan has said that he was watching Obi-Wan. So he was rewatching Obi-Wan, and he has stated that he burst into tears. According to the actor, he burst into tears when he saw the scene where Kenobi tells Vivian Blair, "May the Force be with you." When I saw the episode 6 of Obi-Wan for the first time, I got to see them down where we show in Manhattan Beach, and I had to go down there. I went there and watched episodes 1 through 3. They literally shut me in a room in my own. I was so impressed. But when I was sitting there and watched episode 6, when I tell Vivian Blair, "May the Force be with you" at the end, I burst into tears. I was sitting there, and there's something so moving about it. And then Neeson also said that Liam Neeson said that him and Ewan started crying as they rehearsed their recruits.
So Liam Neeson and who?
Ewan McGregor.
So when they were getting ready to shoot their reunion scene for the last episode of Obi-Wan, it was just extremely emotional for them.
So fun fact, we were watching that documentary on Disney. I guess Deborah Chow went to Liam Neeson first out of all the actors and said, "Hey, this is the idea I have. This is what I want to do here." And Liam Neeson said, "Deal, I'll take it." And he was the first actor in. That's all we got.
Since we were talking about Maul earlier, in George Lucas's original screenwriting, Maul was supposed to be Grievous.
Yes, I was about to say that. Okay.
Oh,
good.
my bad.
I'm glad. No, you're good. I'm glad. I'm glad you caught it too.
So in his original screenwriting, Maul was supposed to come back as Grievous.
Which actually I'd be fine with. It's way better than fucking spider legs.
He said spider legs.
A new description has been released for the High Republic Cataclysm. And for some reason, my laptop is spazzing out.
Yeah, nobody cares about those books.
After 5, the Star Wars, the High Republic.
High Republic books are good.
Cataclysm. It's the new book. The description goes, after 5 years of conflict, the planets Iram, and Enro are on the cusp of real peace. But when news breaks of a disaster and the treaty signing on Jedha, violence reignites the Jeddah. Violence reignites on the beleaguered worlds. Together, the royal heirs of both planets, working alongside the Jedi, have uncovered evidence that the conflict is being orchestrated by outside forces, and all signs point to the mysterious Path of the Open Hand, whom the Jedi also suspect of causing the disaster on Jedha. With time and answers in short supply, the Jedi must divide their focus between helping quell the renewed violence on Iram and Enro, and investigating the path. Among them is Gela Natai, who turns to the one person she believes can unravel the mystery, but the last person she wants to trust, Axel Greylark, the Chancellor's son imprisoned for his crimes.
Axel Greylark, that's a name right there.
The Chancellor's son, in prison for his crimes, has always sought to unburden himself with the weight of his family name. Will he reconcile with the Jedi and aid in their quest for justice and peace, or embrace the path's promise to true freedom? All roads lead to Dulna. Gela and her allies prepare to take on a foe like any other they've ever faced, and it will take all of their trust in the Force and in one another to survive.
Because they got the Jedi killing things in there, the beast that fucking suck the Force out of you and turn you into stone. Yeah, I don't know. I'm listening to it now, so.
Well, there we go. I was like, that was awful specific.
I've already listened to the other ones, the first two.
I got nothing else. I just had that one. So.
Well, I got two more things.
Okay.
So, all our Star Wars fans that's listening to the show and abroad, Star Wars is coming to Wheel of Fortune. They're doing a Star Wars themed Wheel of Fortune week. So everybody needs to send in their stuff so that you can try to get on the Wheel of Fortune and win you some money. Or at least, if anything else, at least be an audience so you can be like, no, what the hell is wrong with you, you freaking idiot? It says right there, Revenge of the Sith. Because, they'll do stuff like that. So that's coming. And then this was just leaked this morning. Ubisoft hired Battlefront 2 creator director to shape the social interaction in the future games, including massive open world part of the Star Wars project.
Why would he choose the Battlefront guy for an open world game?
I don't know. But they just hired the director they directed Battlefront 2, creative director, to do the open world part of to shape the social interaction and the open world part of the project.
Alex Ferns, he was in Andor. He was Linus Mosk, Sergeant Linus Mosk. He went on social media and told all of the fans and everything he is not returning. His character is not returning for Andor season 2.
Which character? Which guy? Hold on.
Cyril Karn's mate, Sergeant Linus Mosk.
Ain't that the dude that that's the dude that was. That was a dude that
yeah.
That he was talking to at the end. Yeah.
That annoying fat guy. Yeah. Who's like, yes, sir, I believe you. It's ridiculous.
All right.
And then I had one more. I'm trying to just do it quick. So Gilroy, the Henry Gilroy talks went, and he talked about George Lucas, Darth Maul, and annoying show notes. He weighed in on Lucas's decision to bring Darth Maul back from the dead. Filoni has already spoken on his surprise of being asked to bring back someone. And it seems that Henry Gilroy had similar mind, and they didn't have a lot of time to fix it, to make it work. And I quote, he's like, George wants to bring back Maul. And I'm like, I knew he was going to do that. I knew it, because the reason why is George likes to see things that he created, and his ideas are awesome, so you can't argue with it. They only gave me 8 pages because literally it was like, we don't have time to do a full epic thing. But then there was
Oh my
this
God.
toxic waste he's kind of soaking in, and it cauterized his wounds because he's burning. So then he gets put in a garbage compactor and taken to the garbage planet. George liked it. He's like, oh, that's good. So I'm like, all right. It made sense. He's cut in half. He's like this, or he's in this robot body or whatever. I'm glad that Grievous is his own thing anyway, but I thought it was interesting that the concept guys almost talked George into that.
Well, George, in his previous writing, Maul was supposed to come back. I read the little the script, and in the original script, Maul was supposed to come back as Grievous. He wasn't supposed to be force sensitive no more. He lost his force sensitivity. Once again, going back to the midichlorian things, you can't be force sensitive when all your midichlorians got cut off. But he was supposed to come back, and he was going to be a machine.
Yes.
And then then it would have made more sense for him and Obi-Wan's fight when they fought at the end.
And then
that was supposed to be the original script.
Yeah. And then Henry came out a little bit more about his time writing the Clone Wars, the animated movie. When writing scenes in Jabba's palace, he wanted to include a Rancor in the pit below Jabba, but George was not a fan. I put another Rancor monster in the basement. I'm like, well, every hut has a monster in their basement. George immediately vetoed the idea and began to tease Gilroy. I want to put below the Rancor. The Rancor has a grid, a screen, and then below it there are other creatures down there that eat the Rancor poop. And I'm like, what? And he says, yeah. And he says, we're going to call those Gilroys. And I'm like, oh, thanks, George. Thanks a lot. Great. So luckily that never made it into a toy.
He was joking. Okay.
Oh, I love that.
So
I was like, God damn,
man, that's
was
a
he
big
losing his mind.
But that's a big, like, you need to you need to get back in your lane. Like, sit down before I make you something you don't want to be. I love George.
Yeah, it scared me. I was like, George is losing it.
And this is all past tense. You got to understand this was written. All this stuff was taking place back before the prequel trilogy was even made.
Right.
When marketing or licensing tried to get something included in the show, Lucas would block the request so the writers and animators would do what they wanted. One time, someone asked to include something in a shot to help sell some toys. He said no. George basically called and said never contact them again. So he forbid the toy people from ever contacting Dave and I. And his explanation to us was, you guys make great stories. Let them make the toys after. No one's going to say no to George Lucas. It's awesome. He's like your plus 99 shield. Any barbs just bounce off.
It's about stories, not marketing. Thank you, George. That's what Disney's doing wrong. Sorry, that's my rant.
Yeah, he also spoke out about George's natural distaste for repeating things he's done before. Means that he never would have approved The Force Awakens or The Rise of Skywalker. If I had pitched those stories to George, he would have fired me. He would have just said, "You're fired. I already did those."
Yes.
Fuck you, Disney.
And
there's a confirmation.
And I mean, George kind of confirmed that too when he spoke out when Force Awakens, and he's like, "This isn't like I try my hardest to not do the same things. Like this is not how Star Wars was going." He didn't actively come out and say he hated it, but we all knew what he meant. And Henry Gilroy just confirmed it.
Because he's not, I don't know if he was even allowed to really say how he actually felt.
Probably not.
Yeah. They brought him back for season 7 of Clone Wars, and I think that's all they brought him back for. They didn't even bring him back for Tales of the Jedi. If you look at all the credits, Henry Gilroy isn't a part of the credits in Tales of the Jedi. So now that he can speak out, I think he's gonna be real, and we're gonna get a lot more juicier shit out of Henry Gilroy.
He also went on a rant about Rebels too. Rebels started out with a much lighter tone in its first season. According to Gilroy, some Disney exclusives or
executives
that had their own ideas about what the show could be in order to appeal to a younger audience. Thankfully, he was able to bat them away, including one early concept of Ezra riding a chopper-esque droid like a skateboard. At one point, I had to send my response to the Lucasfilm executives before they went to Disney. I said my job at Lucasfilm is to protect the Star Wars brands, not the Disney brand. And at the time, there was a difference of that, and that's what they wanted and what they wanted that to be. I hated the image from the beginnings. It's so Poochie, one of the Simpsons characters. It's extreme Ezra to the max. So I made a commitment to myself. I'm never going to have Ezra riding his droid like a skateboard. A droid is not a freaking skateboard.
Yes.
And then they did it anyway.
Thankfully, once Disney realized the show needed to mature with its audience, they stopped giving notes on tone, although they did still worry that some of the darker and more heartbreaking moments would be too rough on the audience. It was more like, can you add a chopper jet gag here? We get notes like that. I think whenever you talk down to kids, though, they always know you're talking down to them and they don't like it. At the end of the series, it was clear to Gilroy that Disney realized just how special Rebels was. And as he was writing the final season,
this article is my favorite thing I've ever heard.
As they were writing the season, they were like, "Oh right, you guys have created something really special here. People love these characters. They're going to be in the TV series, live action series." So that part is rewarding. He is hopeful that he will return to Star Wars one day. His writing has helped shape much of Star Wars modern storytelling, not only enhancing Maul's character, but creating beloved new ones that fans can't wait to see in live action.
I just love that he's coming out and being like, look at what Disney's fucking doing. Do you see these jackasses over here in this office? Like, I love that attitude of, do you see these guys? They need to shut up. Like, I would love to see him in a room be like, George would be flipping tables right now if you said this to him, right?
And usually I try to I shorten down the articles that I come across with the news and everything, but that one just kind of kept going with Henry just
with gold
bashing. Oh yeah, right after another, and I was like, nope, I gotta keep going.
Okay. Thank you, Henry Gilroy. Would you stop?
My new hero.
Are we ready for the impossible quiz?
Yeah, let's do it.
After hearing Henry Gilroy's
I think you got the buttons,
thing.
Cal, so go ahead.
Can you hit him? Can you hit the button?
Stop right there, you rebel scum. Prepare yourself for the Star Wars Impossible quiz. Blast them.
Blast them.
All right. So this one's, most of these are planet-based.
Oh, shit.
Gotta stretch.
Okay.
You're going to go run around those planets and figure it out?
No, I gotta get ready to type.
Y'all ready? Y'all ready?
Yeah, Google
Everybody ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What planet's native culture is known for the hydrostatic bubble technology?
Gungan.
City.
Yeah.
Oh,
Gungans.
Nabu.
Gungan.
Fuck.
What planet native culture is known for their hydrostatic bubble technology?
Naboo.
Is it not Gungans?
It's the Gungan city.
On Naboo.
Yep, Chris got it. Naboo. Y'all saying Gung? I said what planet?
Naboo.
I said Naboo.
I said Naboo like 5 years ago.
No, y'all was saying Gungans. The Gungans.
No,
the Gungans. Nobody said Naboo.
I said Naboo. I said Naboo.
All right, we'll go back and listen to it and see. Okay.
You got it.
Long before the Hutts took control of Tatooine, people settled on the desert planet for what reason?
God,
I don't know. To
sell
run away?
water.
To die?
Said to die.
To get a good tan. To get a good tan. They wanted to sell tanning beds.
What is it?
They're snowbirds.
Tatooine was
fucking
the
snowbird.
Chris said spice mining.
No, I think they were. Damn it! What do they do?
Snowbirds, I'm telling you.
Snowbirds. They was getting rid of house.
Damn it!
They water
I gotta get out of the house. I gotta go to Tatooine.
They were
That's what I said, to sell water.
There's an actual
Nope.
name.
Water farming. Moisture
No.
farming.
Nope.
That's the name is moisture farming.
Gambling? It was
Nope.
like Vegas.
Oh yeah, it's supposed to be the new Vegas.
Go here. You could be hot, get a tan, and get some money.
And sand in every crack. Every orifice.
Lenny said freedom. Nope. The original reason that people was there was to search for minerals and ores. To mine for precious minerals and ores.
Yeah, you ain't finding shit on that desert.
They didn't find shit. That's why it turned into a freaking, the Hutts took control of that shit. Okay. What planet has an entire area of uninhabitable abandoned towers that cause the area to be toxic to life?
Chernobyl.
Sorry.
Thank you.
It has abandoned towers.
What planet has an entire area of uninhabitable abandoned towers that cause the area to be toxic to life?
Oh, was that the one in that book? The
Mandalore?
The Dawn.
He said
Jedi
Mandalore. Mandalore don't have no buildings left. They're just ashes.
Endor?
Freedom from the Republic.
Endor sustains life.
It was at
The
the
whole
very
planet's a
end.
forest.
It was at the very end of the Into the Void book, right?
No,
No, it's not that one.
no,
It's the Sith book, isn't it? It's that
Nope.
planet where the Sith go.
nope. Y'all are super far off.
Okay, well then tell us the answer.
Coruscant.
Wait, what?
Coruscant has a whole section of the planet that can't nobody live on because they have uninhabited, abandoned buildings, which caused the area to be toxic to life.
We see it when they're chasing Dooku. That sector of the planet.
Chris is like California.
That's
Yeah, California.
thank you. That is about accurate.
California.
What keeps the buildings on Camino from flooding and being blown over during a storm?
Stabilizers.
Gravity.
Nope.
Gravity keeps the water.
They're not.
down?
Flood doors.
Nope.
No, they're stabilizers.
They're floating. They're not
we
actually
saw
in the
that.
water.
We saw the stabilizers in Camino Lost. There's
All the way
multiple-
off. I wanna know the
giant
answer.
I have
water
no
box.
idea.
There's sloping roofs to deflect wind and rain.
Oh yeah, they're
It was aerodynamic. That we were thinking.
He's
way
talking
too
about
hard.
above. He's not talking about below.
Okay,
God
so
damn it! I hate your trick questions because I'm thinking
It's not
underwater.
even a trick question. It's just, listen,
No.
wind and rain. It's not a trick question. I said it in the question.
Do you
Wind and
remember
rain.
The
20%.
What keeps the buildings of Camino from flooding and being
Earth,
blown
wind, and
over
rain.
during a storm?
Earth, wind,
Wind
and
and
fire?
fire.
Yeah, same thing.
Okay. On what planet's surface was the first ground force battle of the Clone Wars fought?
Geonosis.
Yep. That was an easy one.
That was an easy one.
Yeah.
I could have gotten.
Right?
Hey, pound sand.
Yeah, you're right.
I
You
don't
beat me
like
to it.
sand.
I just feel bad.
On what planet did Anakin defeat Locked Door to help free the Luminaran from the Separatist
Illuminati.
occupation?
The Illuminati. Yeah.
This was in Clone Wars.
Dude,
Yep.
I have no idea.
Thought so. I'm trying to think.
I have no
I'm
idea.
assuming season 3.
You said Illuma whatever, and I'm just thinking a planet full of fireflies.
Actually,
like
it's
big ass fireflies.
Lurmin. It's Luriman. Luramin. Luramin from Separatist occupation.
Back a leader? Latar?
I don't know. I
I
can't
have
think of
no
it.
idea.
I can't think of it right now.
Meridium. Planet Meridium.
Meridian?
What planet did Tarkin's ship take Kanan Jarrus to when he was captured by the Grand Inquisitor?
I
in
have no
Rebels.
idea.
Yeah, I know it's in Rebels.
Second
haven't seen
season of
Rebels.
Rebels. So I
Yeah.
know that you've seen it, Garrison, because we was on.
We've seen it.
Yeah,
Okay.
we-
Mustafar.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought about that
remember
scene.
that.
Yes.
And
I had to
looking
think
more
about
into that, all Jedi's that were captured were taken to Darth Vader for him to execute on Mustafar.
Oh, Darth Vader got
So
it.
Darth Vader was like letting them loose on Mustafar, and then he would track him down and kill him. It was like a sport to him.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
I would do that.
The
That
most
sounds
dangerous
dope.
I was gonna
game.
say, wasn't there a book?
Yeah, the most dangerous game where people would get captured, dropped on this island, and then the guy would come in and he would hunt these people.
Yeah.
Most dangerous game.
Because he had hunted every other animal in the world, and he was bored with it.
And they rescued Kanan off of Tarkin's ship before he ever got taken to the planet. Okay. Question number 8. What is the name of the Doom capital? What is the name of the Dome capital city on planet Mandalore?
Oh, Oh shit. Oh god, now I'm on the spot. Here we go.
Washington D.C.
That's so far from the truth.
Washington got some domes. You know, then they put a dome on their football stadium.
University of Phoenix Stadium.
Oh god damn it! Come on now. Sundari.
Yep.
There you go.
Good Googling.
Yeah, I'm looking down. My phone's on my desk, and I'm thinking, okay.
Okay. What was the very first planet that they tested the Death Star super laser out on?
Oh,
Alderaan.
no, it was not. It was not Alderaan. We saw it in Rogue One.
No, yeah.
It's a Jedi's planet. It's a Jedi homeworld.
Oh shit.
Jeddah?
Nope.
It wasn't Jedi, you smartass.
Jeddah?
Oh, it was.
No.
Wait, was it not Jeddah?
Oh.
No. Jeddah
Wasn't
had a
Jeddah.
forward. Jeddah. So when we see Jeddah, it was a forward operating base for the rebellion before they went to Yavin 4.
Which was just kind of fucking retarded. Like that isn't the first place that fucking Palpatine ain't gonna fucking try to fuck up Jeddah. Like it's the home world of the Jedi. You know what I'm saying?
Keep saying from Lenny Tython.
Yeah.
Nope, it's not Tython.
It's not Tython.
I thought it was Jeddah.
No. What is it, Kyle?
Death Spray.
Yeah. Okay.
Death Spray?
That's where
DESPAYRE.
Mhm.
Death Spray. However you say that shit. Was the very first world that it was that they tested the Death Star on. On what planet did skilled architects blend the cityscape design into the backdrop of the snow-capped mountains?
Wait, say again?
One more
This
time.
was in Rogue One, wasn't it?
On what planet did skilled architects blend the cityscape design into the backdrop of the snow-capped mountains?
Hoth. You can't even tell. Looks exactly the same.
No, it's not Hoth.
I mean, that's not a wrong answer, but it's not a right answer. It's not the answer he's looking for, but it's not wrong. I mean,
It's
shit,
not
look at
wrong.
Hoth.
It's not wrong.
Tatooine?
I can't even
Nope.
think of another.
Of snow-capped mountains on Tatooine? Come on.
Naboo. That seems like a Naboo thing to do.
Nope.
No, Alderaan.
Yep.
Oh.
It's
Because we see it
Alderaan.
in Obi-Wan.
We see it in Obi-Wan. We see it in the books. We've seen it in
I
other
got four
pictures of Alderaan. We see it
Holy
in the
shit.
backdrop when what's his face and his wife are holding Princess Leia for the first time. Organa and his wife is holding Princess Leia for the first time. We see it in the backdrop of there.
I liked it when it was me because I got a chance to answer questions. You just fucking fire them off. I had time to think
CJ's a
when you weren't
dick.
here.
I had 4 answers right.
I had time to think when you weren't here, dick.
Fuck you guys.
Yeah, he's killing it this round. Good
He
job,
is.
CJ.
Yeah, you
There's
got
a
like
first
3 of
for
them this
everything.
time.
I got 4.
4.
Is that it? Oh, was that the last
That
one?
was all 10 of them, yeah.
God damn it, CJ, fuck you, man.
Yes. I'm here to win. I piss excellence.
Golly.
I wake up and piss excellence.
Oh.
Oh, I should have Googled. This is bullshit.
Well, that was the thing. I
Lindy
even
said
gave
this
you
is not the answer you are looking for.
Hold on. I even gave you guys a chance to answer this one. I said Hoth. Oh, not Hoth. I said Tatooine. Snow-capped mountains. Tatooine. Really?
We just thought
I
you were being
don't.
smart.
Yeah, no,
wasn't
I
being
heard
a
it.
smart
I
ass.
thought you were a dumbass. I still think you are, but it's okay. I'm just kidding.
All right, guys, this was a fun episode. There was a lot. There was a lot of hypotheses going on in this episode, even in the impossible quiz. But so we haven't discussed yet. I know the first is coming around real quickly here. We haven't discussed yet when we're going to do the next watch party because the first is actually next Wednesday. So, but we will go through and we'll discuss which day we're going to do the next watch party, February's watch party. So that'll be coming up soon. I'm trying to get some stuff fixed. For some reason, it's not letting me post no more quizzes on the thing because every time I try to do it, it doesn't do it. So I'm trying to figure that out on the website. So there'll be some more quizzes coming out as soon as I figure that shit out. It's being frustratingly annoying. You guys got any news or anything that y'all want to think about coming up in the future? Any
I am
ideas?
excited for March 6th. We are going to go hang out with Zach Woolsey at our Star Wars celebration that we're having here in the Valley.
So if you are listening and around Boise, come check out the Discovery Center because it's going to be all about Star Wars. It's huge.
They're bringing in movie props.
It's the biggest exhibition, supposedly. Expo for Star Wars, all kind of brought into the Discovery Center in Boise.
And
so come
you
kick
get
it with
CJ and Tori because they'll be there.
And Zach,
who we've had on the show. So you get to meet somebody that works for Lucasfilm / Tops Cards, who's probably going to be hanging out with us most of the day. I'm taking the day off to do it. It's Star Wars. I don't need to fucking work when Star Wars is in town. I don't care about my job that
Shit,
much.
I wish you took that same type of thing for the podcast, you asshole. No,
So I won't be here Wednesday? Is that what I'm hearing from you?
No, I'll play.
Just kidding. No, never.
So we got some stuff coming up. We're working on getting some different of the celebrities on the show. I've been sending out some emails and stuff, just waiting to hear back from some AR reps. So we are definitely working on starting this year off great. So, it's going to all be cool. So we will see you guys on Wednesday. Some of us will see you on Wednesday because
I will be here. I will be here. I am not out of town until spring.
A temper tantrum.
So until September, he'll be here, supposedly.
I won't. No, I'm just kidding. I will.
September? Spring, my guy. Spring. That is like April, like March and April. End of March.
March 20th.
Hopefully you can get through all the Mandalorian.
I will definitely try at this point because I hate going out of town.
But so we'll see you guys on Wednesday.
Make good choices.
Yeah, make good choices. Only kill light side users. No Jedi. I mean, no Sith.
You better back off.
Kill Mandalorians, just for the fun of it. If you see Maul, cut the other half of them in half, so we ain't got to worry about him no more coming back.
Come to the Sith.
Cut him in quarters.
Cut him in fourths this time.
Come to the Sith side. We have cookies.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys Wednesday. Stay outrageous, and may the Force be with you. Peace. Am I hitting the button?
Yeah.
Hit the button.
Hit the button.
Thank you for tuning in to LSR. If you've enjoyed the show, consider subscribing so you can be notified when new episodes are released. If you would like to be a guest on the show or just want to give us some feedback, feel free to email us. You can also reach out to us on all major social media platforms. LightSaber Radio is produced by Pickfilm Media and is a Swaycast original, starring Garrison Turcotte, CJ Elliott, and Kyle McDaniel. And don't forget to join us next time for more adventures in a galaxy far, far away.